Hello there. Welcome back to the Random Show episode number 29. Apologies for my tardiness. Apologies for my lateness. For whatever reason, my Streamlabs settings ended up, getting all muddled up and spammed, and I had to start all over again. But we are where we are. We're here live and direct. I'm glad some of you guys could join me. Hope you're doing well wherever this little show may be finding you. What am I doing right now? I've not found my things that they call there. My things there. But yeah, hope you guys are well wherever this may be finding you. I'm here. I've arrived. Do not be worried. Do not be scared. Do not be crying. Do not be sad. I'm here. Daddy is here. Okay, open browser, opening web browser. Let's see if this works. I need to quickly move this window capture device. Hope you guys are well wherever you are. What's going on in the chat? Let me know what's going on over there. Hope you're fine. Hope you're doing well and dandy and all that good stuff. Let me know what the deal is. Okay, it's not working there for some reason. Why can't it work there? Why are you doing this to me for? What? All messages that send will appear publicly. Sign into chat. How can I not sign in properly? What's going on with this thing? Allow me to work. It doesn't matter, and it really doesn't. Well, at least we're here anyway. That's what matters. The main thing is that everyone's here. So big up everybody. Hope you are well wherever this may be finding you. I'm doing pretty decent myself. I'm going to take a big galloping of water here, so I'm going to mute the mic for all you guys who hate hearing me drink water. That was refreshing. That was ultra refreshing. Big up BLT and negative and the daddy thing. Yeah, I feel you. I don't blame you for not being all down with the negative vibes and stuff. Big up Caleb Spencer. Big up Space Kai. I'm seeing all of you in the chat right now, coming through, pumping through. Big up everybody. Wrestling Universe, big up. I don't think I've blown up. I'm just a regular dude. I think people are just here for the drama, man. I've got a whole entire podcast where I talk about many interesting things that I think are quite interesting. Cultural things, fashion things, art things, music things, and people don't give a flying crap about my podcast. All they care about is me talking about comedy show people, which is annoying. I mean, comedy scene people. Because I swear I have nearly 3,000 videos on my channel, and I swear it. If someone wants to do it for me, I'm not gonna do it. But if you want to go through all my videos, I'm pretty sure the LA comedy scene stuff maybe makes up for 10%, if maybe less than that, of my entire library. But most people only know me because of all this nonsense concerning these bloody podcasters in the LA scene. It's really, really annoying. I'm not gonna lie. But again, beggars can't be choosers. It is what it is. The game is the game. Make the best of it as I can. And so far, I'm happy that I've met all of you lovely people out there who are, supporting the stuff that I do and giving me great encouragement to continue on, because I only do it for you guys. Honestly, I only do it for you guys. I really don't do this for my own entertainment. I really could care less about this stuff, especially talking about it in this way. Contrary to popular, interpretations out there regarding me, but you guys seem to enjoy it. And as I'm a content creator like everyone else, I serve the people. I serve the people. Anyway, talking about serving the people, I'm actually going to make sure that I sign into this. I want to make sure that I got my chat up on here, because for whatever reason Stream doesn't let me do it via desktop. So I'm going to make sure the volume's down and have my stream chat up open here, so I can make sure I can read the chat here quickly and approve any comments I might get auto blocked via the YouTube spam bot thing, which is a good feature, but sometimes it can be a bit excessive in terms of blocking your messages. So if some of your messages don't go through, don't think I'm blocking them. I'm not that guy. I don't really care too tough. But usually the anti bad word filter thing that they got going on in the chat bot, or the chat AI, sometimes block stuff. So I'm just going to make sure I have the chat up so I can approve whatever comes through. So it's going to be a bit of a mad one. You might see some mad messages on the screen. I do not endorse any of the crazy stuff these people say. I'm just here providing some entertainment. Please do not kill me. So we're going to jump right in, and I want to just mention as a preface, as I always do with concerning this stuff, because I feel like I need to always cleanse the palate somewhat before we begin in it, right? And I want to quickly say that I have been spending the majority of my day obviously working and obviously doing some other bits and bobs around the house, and I did end up stumbling across this incredible New York Times article concerning the late and the great Anthony Bourdain, which then got me into going down the whole Kitchen Confidential, rabbit hole. I never actually finished. I never actually finished what you call it, listening. Oh, I didn't realize the alert box is too loud. I never actually finished listening or reading the Kitchen Confidential book by Anthony Bourdain. It was essentially his autobiography, the thing that kind of launched his career, giving people an insight into the crazy life of, New York kitchen scenes, or kitchen scenes in general, and that industry all around it. And after his death, because I was a big fan of him, big fan of the show, No Reservations, it was just really hard to kind of listen to that audiobook and kind of bring back all those memories. But when reading this article and listening to Kitchen Confidentials and checking out a couple of clips here and there from No Reservations and the other show he did on CNN, it was a really, really good reminder that really good people do exist out there. People who work in industries where you really do depend on the good heart or the good natured people around you to basically do the best that they can do in order to make you shine. So Anthony Bourdain is obviously the main star of the show and all the TV programs he puts out there, but he really does a good job in terms of highlighting the people around him who help him to be the person that he is. And he makes a real concerted effort to highlight people mostly who come from, countries outside of the US, people who have kind of emigrated, who have moved across the country to go and live in the United States and basically, make a new life for themselves and their family. And they've decided to, make the first place that they step into the workforce be it in the kitchen. Some people with little to no experience or formal training. And he really highlights them and basically wants to tell their story through food. And it was a nice thing to watch, especially after listening and watching so many horrible people in the comedy scene who have some of the, they always talk about they have the hardest jobs in the world, but they don't. They have the easiest job in the world, legitimately the easiest job in the world, because they enjoy what they do. They get to go on stage and tell dick jokes and fart and talk about their sexual escapades and make light of their family trauma or whatever it may be called. And people pay them handsomely for it, whether it's in ads, whether it's people buying tickets, doing merch, whatever it may be. They get notoriety from doing one of the coolest jobs in the world, right? And I wouldn't say the hardest. It's also cool because as a comedian, you don't get to, unless you end up being Kevin Hart or Dave Chappelle, for the most part, or Amy Schumer or something, you don't, you're not going to be the most famous guy in the world or girl in the world. You're going to have a little niche for yourself, but you're still going to be able to make crazy amounts of money per year and be able to service your fans. So to see these people take that stuff for granted, treat their audience like shit, treat each other like worse than shit, and just generally be awful people despite all the blessings that they've been bestowed onto them, it can bum you out, especially someone like me, who I would describe myself as a creative who's basically trying to make it, right? I'm trying to, do my own thing, whether it's DJing, whether it's recording podcasts, whether it's writing or photography. I'm trying to find my way in life in order for me to kind of achieve my dreams. So sometimes when you're watching people who have achieved some level of success and they're just, they're taking it for granted, they're not honoring the gift, they're not respecting their audience or each other, it can really bum you out. It can really, really bum you out, because you think to yourself, like, why are they deserving of these gifts and these blessings that they're given? And really, that's not a constructive answer. So it's not a constructive question. It won't really get you anywhere interesting, but it does make you start to resent people. And I don't think that feeling or that emotion is beneficial. And, it's somewhat harmful. And I feel like most people who watch this sort of stuff watch it through the prism of reality TV, right? I'm sure most of you do the same sort of thing. But I have recognized over the last few months, I sometimes have got way too emotional about this stuff when it really doesn't matter. And most of the reason why I think is because of my lack of success in my own life in terms of the creative things that I'm doing. So that when you're looking at other people who are on paper definition successful or way more successful than I am, and they're taking the piss out of it, it can make you feel a little bit, ugh, what the fuck's going on? I wouldn't even call it jealousy. It's not a jealousy thing. It's more so like a resentment, right? Like a why couldn't that be me sort of thing, which I don't think is good. So the one thing I wanted to do was reset the palette. And then the second thing I wanted to do, which other people have mentioned and pointed out in some of the comments that people have been leaving, so thank you for the comments. People have said, hey, this is a shit show. It clearly is a shit show, like a huge shit show. Just enjoy it for what it is and don't view it any more than that. just view it through the prism of it being a horrible reality TV show. And I think that's the best way to view it. And that's how I'm going to try to approach this stuff going forward, because I was going to get on here and be like, oh, after this last update, I'm not going to do this again and do these big proclamations. But we know how it is, isn't it? This is a car crash. This is a train crash. We're going to keep watching. So if anything, I'm going to try my best to divorce my own emotion from this sort of thing and just view it as a comedy spectacle as what it is. Because essentially that's what it is. These people aren't really involved in our lives. We don't know them personally. And if anything, as I mentioned in my previous videos, nothing will really change by what we're saying and talking about here on this channel. So that's kind of my disclaimer out there, out of the way, right? And hopefully you guys kind of see where I'm coming from. I'm seeing flipping messages here from Eric C. Manchester's Blue, so I didn't think I see, but you get what I mean, right? Hopefully you kind of get what I mean and what I'm coming at and the point that I'm trying to make concerning this whole stuff. But yeah, let's just get involved on the show and just keep it rolling. Okay, so what should we begin with first? Let's start maybe with, should we start with, yeah, let's start with this video. Let's do a short little clip. So this is courtesy again of the Fire and the Kids subreddit. Someone shared a clip where I guess a caller or a viewer of the San Tripoli podcast or live stream, whatever he does, asked him if he was one of the people who was involved in the whole shambles concerning the bullying of Bobby Lee, right? This is kind of like a kind of review of the bullying of Bobby Lee, that he had kind of accused people in the comedy scene of getting on the phone to him and harassing him and basically threatening that if he didn't get Khalyla in check or in line, that they would expose him for whatever he has done, that they would, damage his career, whatever it may be. And obviously some names were out there flying. People weren't sure who it was. We already have confirmation that it was definitely Bryan Called, but there was other people that Bobby mentioned. I think he specifically said in the H3 podcast, it was other podcasters and people. Like he said he didn't, it was plural. It wasn't just one person. So even though Bryan Called fell on his sword and really tried to make it seem as if it was just him, it does seem that there's other people involved, but of course they don't want to step out and say that they were behind the bullying of Bobby Lee and protection of Brendan Schaub's nonsense. So, everyone's just keeping quiet. But this is Sam Tripoli's basically opinion on the whole matter, and you can believe him or not believe him, but I'm just going to play it and hear what he has to say.
Next up, Bryan just came out and admitted he was the one who called and threatened Bobby Lee. You guys talked about it all. Have you guys talked about all going down? Yes, we have. And I'm very let down by a lot of the things going involved in that, because I've been pulled into this when I've done nothing. I've said I've expressed my appreciation of Bobby Lee's comedy and everything he's done. Some might consider him a five-tool player. He's a stand-up. He's an actor. He's a podcaster. He's done it really at all. So I've always given him compliments. The only thing I've ever said is that he's so funny his podcast, he needs to bring those stories to the stage. That's about it. And it is what it is. I'll have a discussion with him about not clarifying it. It's kind of the second time he's threw me under the bus and didn't clarify it. So, but that's it. I'm not in the middle of it. I love Schaub. I love Called. I love Bobby Lee. And that's it. That's the end of it. I'm not in it. I'm not part of it. A lot of people just want a boogeyman, and that's fine. And who cares? We just keep moving on.
You know what? I'm going to say this aloud. Contrary to popular belief or unpopular opinion, I like Sam Tripoli. I know he has his faults. I know some people on social or on the internet, or especially on the Fire and the Kids subreddit, they kind of they get at him for certain things. But I like him. He seems to be one of the rare, genuine people in that comedy scene. He seems to legitimately enjoy doing stand up. He seems to want to put on shows and offer his friends and peers an opportunity to get on stage and get some stage time. He seems to get really happy and engaged and somewhat psyched up when he hears a story of somebody saying, oh yeah, Sam Tripoli gave me a spot on his show and that led me to get this opportunity. Like, he loves to have his name associated with people's success stories, so he's clearly somebody that's very selfless. And if we're being really honest, looking back at it, he was one of the only people. Again, he's not a major figure, he's not super famous and stuff, but still, he's a notable enough name. He was one of the rare people in that LA comedy scene who really held it down for Brian Callen and Chris D'Elia when they went through what they were going through, when they were accused of, the R word and the flipping, diddling of kids in D'Elia's case. He really went out of his way to be like, in a roundabout way, say, hey, I don't know if it's true, I wasn't there, but these guys are my comedic peers and my comedic friends, so I'm going to hold them down regardless. Again, you can think what you want to think, but I think that kind of level of loyalty is something that is clearly very rare or in short supply in the LA comedy scene. And the fact that he did that, I would hold him to always high regard in that case. And for the most part, when it comes to drama and it comes to the flipping, the vortex of diarrhea that surrounds the Fighter and the Kid and everyone associated with it, he does a very good job of keeping himself away from it, arm's distance. He obviously does a show with Brian. I'm not sure if that's still going on, there Conspiracy Social Club stuff, but that last time I checked was very successful. They get mad amounts of donations or whatever it may be called in terms of people subbing to it. They do really well. They did live shows, so he's clearly doing okay for himself. I don't care what he does in his personal life. I don't really give a shit, but he's clearly somebody that's lived a life. Think of that, take from that what you will. And he seems to be semi decent. And for the most part, I wouldn't have thought he would be he would be one of the persons that would get on the phone and try to basically threaten Bobby. If anything, if he did know about it sooner, or if he was involved, I would expect him to be the peacemaker. I would expect him to be one of the people kind of trying to reach out to both parties and see if he can kind of mend whatever divide is going on there. But I wouldn't have believed it would have been him involved. If anything, I would have guessed a stretch Chris D'Elia, but still I wouldn't, because I think Chris is way more friendly with Bobby Lee than anyone else would imagine. But if anyone would definitely be cucked out and get a little bit crazy about defending Brendan, it would definitely be Brian. So it was no surprise when Brian came out and said, it was me, I'm the one, I'm the one, I'm the one. Actually, there's a clip of it that someone shared. Let me just quickly play this. Is there a clip here? Yeah, this is the one where Brian basically says he's the one. Listen to this guy.
That wasn't anybody but me. I'm the guy. I'm the one who did it.
Isn't that pathetic, no? Don't you feel part of me feels sad for him or bad for him, but part of me also thinks he brought it upon himself. This is a what, 2 decade legit stand-up comedian in Bryan Callen, right? He's a legitimate stand-up, like somebody has been on the scene for a very, very long time. He's earned his chops. He's passed at the Comedy Store. He's got comedy specials out there. He's widely regarded as a very funny person. Maybe not the best stand-up in the world, but definitely somebody a lot of people would say, hey, you pay a ticket to go see Bryan Callen perform, you're going to get your money's worth. He's a semi-decent comedic actor for whatever we've seen him in. And somehow along the line, somehow along his journey, he ended up getting hitched to Brendan Schaub's wagon, which has definitely been a net positive to his career. Let's not, beat around the bushes. I think without Brendan, he would be, he would have faded into obscurity a very long time ago. But somehow it went from him and Brendan being co-hosts and co-founders and brothers in arms trying to make it through Hollywood and trying to make their careers, get closer to their dreams, whatever, in whatever way they wanted to get to in their own little kind of way, to suddenly it went to being that to then being Brian essentially being Brendan's personal cock holster, right? Cheerleader, defender, and just weird sycophant. Like, it just changed very quickly. And now he's in this kind of like weird employee stage where they're not really doing the show together. It's more so Brendan's show, and he just hires Brian, and like his kind of old friend that he knew, who he kind of loves having around, but he doesn't really trust him with the business. That's what it feels like. I don't know when that shift happened or how it happened, but it happened very quickly. And it wasn't down to merit. It wasn't because Brendan was funny or anything. It was just, you know, the guy got more successful, so I selling more tickets, and then suddenly the ego went crazy. I'm sure the friends around him didn't really help matters either. They probably fed into it. And then Brian just kind of acquiesced and just kind of sat in his seat and kind of, got into position and just started glucking. And since then, he's been a complete shell of a man. Now he's sitting there, pointing into his chest, saying how how much he's the person to take blame for everything. Like he's falling on, like as if he's doing something honorable by falling on his sword for somebody who got himself in a problem that he could have easily avoided, and that he took no responsibility for in public. It's like, what? This is such a bizarre thing to watch. But anyway, whatever. I'm just glad it's not Sam Tripoli, because I like him. I think he's a decent dude personally. But I don't know if you guys agree. Let me actually check. What's the chat saying? Do you guys agree that Sam Tripoli's cool, or do you all guys think he's, or do you guys share the opinion of the Fire and the Kid subreddit that he's a tweaker, that he's this, that he's that? You take the piss out of his, the person that he's dating at the moment, who I don't care, but some of you guys seem to care that he's dating an older lady or whatnot. What do you guys think in the chat? I like him, man. I'm a big fan of Sam Tripoli, and again, I like him because he's a kook. He's clearly a kook. He's balls deep into flipping conspiracy theories. He flies off the handle about them. Like, he's clearly interesting. You know what I mean? He's the kind of person you legitimately would want to get. You wouldn't mind getting stuck at a bar with. Do you know what I mean? If you bumped into him somewhere, like, he would actually have good conversations. You'd actually be entertaining. You'd actually be someone you maybe regard as a friend and you want to meet again. Like, he seems like someone who would be quite cool. Whereas the rest of them would be a bit funny one-y. I don't dislike Sam, people are saying here. Yosemite said Sam is truly a nice guy. I agree. Observe One says, yep, Sam is okay. Moose says, I like Sam until he started trying to murder Red Bar. Oh yeah, but to be fair, Marty Moose, let's be fair with when it comes to the Red Bar stuff. Red Bar, like I said, I like Red Bar, and I think he's a necessary evil in the comedy scene. But let's be for real. The stuff that he says about these comedians is insane. The level of detail and research that he goes into to uncover the things that they say is also batshit insane. So it's no surprise that if you go there and you start talking about family and start getting into people's personal lives, you are really, really poking the beast. You're doing, that meme that people share online with the lion as a tiger lying down and there's someone's finger about to like flick their nutsack or something, and it's like, oh, here we go. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm in for an interesting evening. That's what you're doing with these guys when you constantly go at them, especially the ones who clearly have skeletons in their closet. You're talking about how they get down on the road. You're talking about their personal relationship with their baby mothers, with their kids and stuff. Like, no, that's too much. I don't really blame Sam Tripoli for trying to allegedly KILL to for Red Bar for Tripoli trying to allegedly KILL Red Bar. I don't blame him, especially if what I've seen online is true, that Red Bar said about Sam Tripoli. Like, come on, man, that's not stuff you say about people. But it's also hilarious that he gets under their skin so quickly. You know what I mean? This one guy, this random studio in Chicago, who's just clearly trolling and clearly has, zero intention of. He's probably the one person on them content. Maybe would I describe myself the same? I don't know if this makes sense, but. Maybe Red Bar, maybe he's evil. Maybe he is. Maybe he's a bad person. I don't think so, I just think he's a troll. But he might be one of the only people in content, especially that concerns the LA comedy scene type people, who's clearly in it for his own entertainment and doesn't care about being their friend. Because I don't know about me, I don't want to be a stand-up comedian. I don't care about being all these guys' friends. But I can understand if somebody saw my content and thought, oh, this guy only talks about his people so much because he wants to be like them in some way. Whether he's like associated with them, he goes out with them. You know what I mean? I can understand if you saw my content and had that kind of thinking. It doesn't really marry up with reality because, like I said, I don't care about stand-up that much to even try to do it myself. I don't care about any of these guys personally in that way. But I could get why you would say that. But Red Bar might be the only person legitimately making content about comedians online who clearly strikes me as somebody who does not care about being friends with these people. And that's why he probably is able to go so far, because, he doesn't give a shit. But it was funny, honestly. Seeing that clip of Joey Diaz going after him was hilarious. Because, Joey is usually a pretty level-headed guy when it comes to that sort of stuff. So just seeing that he could affect somebody like that, who's clearly, again, lived a life worth living, to see him get so easily riled, just goes to show, innit? Like, that guy is on another level, man. He's got some power, some sort of juju when it comes to typing on that little keyboard of his and sipping his little whiskey and stuff. Like, it's just hilarious. But anyway, let's move on. Oh, really? Eddie D says on the chat, did Mike David used to own a comedy club in Chicago? Oh, really? Is that true? So he's a former comedy club owner and he's saying this crazy shit about these people. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. That's amazing. That's amazing. He used to be a comedy store owner and he's now doing this. I flipping love it. I really do. But anyway, let's move on. Next one I need to talk about. So, this is an update courtesy of Erik Griffin on his podcast called, what is it? It's just called Erik Griffin. No, it's called Hot Button. Is it Hot Button Day? Is that what it's called? Whatever. That's the title of the show. Riffing with Griffin, Hot Button Day, episode 184, live. And for whatever reason, Erik Griffin decided it was a good opportunity for him to get his voice heard regarding everything concerning Brendan Schaub v. Bobby Lee Khalyla and H3. Obviously, it makes sense because he's actually friends with these people. So, let me give him some benefit of doubt there. But for somebody who clearly put their morals or their principles to one side for the betterment of a check, it's a bit hard to take anything he says seriously, because he was one of the first people who was really quite public with his disliking of Brendan and his decision to start doing stand-up. More so when he found out Brendan wasn't good, because I think maybe the idea of somebody quitting MMA to start doing stand-up is a noble idea and does seem quite cool to watch somebody go through that journey of going from one profession to the next. But when they're clearly not good, but they also have the ego of somebody that is really good, it's easy to understand why some people would not like them, especially if your own career was not at the place that you'd want it to be. You don't need to vocalize it, of course. You can just keep it yourself. But if you do vocalize it, stand on it, innit? It is what it is. It's not that big of a deal. Like, what are you really losing out by not being pally-pally with somebody like a Brendan Schaub? Aha. That's where it comes in, innit? He's friends with Joe. Everyone wants to be Joe's friend and get on the podcast and just have that stamp. He's like the male Oprah Winfrey, I always say. So it makes sense that he would want to kind of change his tune. And then during that time too, again, to give Erik Griffin a bit of leeway, because I'm familiar with him, to some extent, to give my opinion on this. I did get the impression also when he hooked up with that lady that he's engaged to, who I guess they're soon to be married, he kind of changed the way he spoke about things. He became quite mature overnight. It seemed like he grew up really quickly. So maybe this is just his way of just growing up and realizing that, hey, it doesn't really matter ultimately if I just think this guy's funny or not. He's willing to pay me to appear on his podcast, The King of the Sting. He's willing to give me some airtime. He seems reasonable enough. He's not encroaching on my space. And then to add to it also, his own YouTube channel and Twitch and stuff started to pop up as well. I remember he started bragging about how many subs he was getting and the money that was coming in and the ads and whatnot. So he wasn't necessarily starving as much as he was maybe in the past when he did make those disparaging comments about Brendan. So all those things coming out at once probably led him to be in the position that he's in now, where he clearly doesn't want to get on Brendan's bad side, but he's also super close with Bobby, and he also doesn't want to be seen as a bad friend. But in this situation, there are no fence-sitting positions to have. It's either you think Brendan did nothing wrong, or you think he did everything wrong. But there are no middle grounds. It's either you're BGL, right, the big gay lion, and you're trying to excuse all the fuck shit, or you're on the other end, like the Fire and the Kid subreddit people, and you're just going ham at Brendan and picking apart every little thing that he does. But there is no middle ground. The only middle ground that really exists is just, I don't care, this is beneath me, this is dumb. The kind of Tim Dillon stance of things, right? I make $100,000 a month for my Patreon. I don't need this nonsense. I mean, leave me alone. Like, that's probably the best stance to take about this. But this stance from Erik Griffin, I thought was very bizarre and very odd. But let's play it out anyway. Hear what he has to say.
Yeah. All right. So you're in the comedy world, comedy podcast world. You know, it is what it is. New people listening to my podcast, but you probably don't know what the hell is this guy even talking about, right? It is what it is, you know. So you have regular listeners of all the podcasts. I'm a part of a very small comedy podcast community, even though there's a lot of podcasts. But you know, as you guys, if you know me, you know I'm very good friends with Bobby Lee. Bobby Lee is one of my best friends. We have a weird relationship, but it is what it is. I love Bobby dearly. I know, I love his brother, Steve. They've been on my podcast a few times. I've been on Tigerbelly probably 5 or 6 times. I think I've been on Tigerbelly the most out of anyone. I think it's me and 1 or 2 other people that have been on there the most.
just quickly, and I promise I won't stop this too often. It's a very LA thing, right? To refer to somebody as a very good friend, but you have a very weird relationship. Or sorry, to refer to somebody as one of your best friends, but you have a very weird relationship. I wonder if in America, best friend has a different meaning to what we say in the UK, or how we refer to friends in the UK, similar to like dating. Because I know sometimes, oh no, similar to the term like hooking up or whatever. 'Cause I know sometimes in the UK, we classify dating and hooking up as like just meeting to get like a coffee or have some dinner. But you guys, dating and hooking up could mean having sex, oral sex, like anything. It could go anywhere, kissing, fondling each other. It could cover a whole spectrum of things. So I wonder when someone says best friend and they say we have a weird relationship, because it's like an oxymoron. Like if it's someone's your best friend, there shouldn't be a weird relationship. That should be your best friend. That should be somebody that you can rely on, come rain or shine, to be there for you, and you could be there for them. But when you say weird relationship, that usually connotes somebody that your relationship is what it is. You might not keep in contact as often, but when you see each other, it's just like old days. But it's just a weird thing to hear someone say best friend, but we have a weird relationship. Huh? Like if you're with relationship, just find other best friends. I don't know. Anyway, who cares?
I go on every single year. It is what it is. I've been on Steve Lee's podcast a number of times. You know, they're my friends. Andrew Santino, he's one of my best friends. Both Bobby and Andrew are coming to my wedding along with Steve. They're my friends. As you know now, I am a regular on King and the Sting and now the Wing. King, Sting, and the Wing. But I was a regular on the show. I've been on Fighter and the Kid a few times. I've built a friendship with Brendan Schaub. Brendan is also, I consider Brendan a friend. I mean, we're not as close as I am with the other people, but, it just takes time. I wouldn't say I had a contentious relationship with Brendan at first, but, it started off with me being like, who the hell is this UFC fighter thinking he could be a comic, I've come since to change my tune about that, because it obviously doesn't matter what people think about someone's art. If you think someone's funny or not, it doesn't even matter. That's not what sells tickets. Whatever Brendan's got, his work ethic, whatever people like about him, it works. He's on like 5, 6, 7 shows. He's built the Thick Boy Network. He's got 2 specials. Whether you like him or not, whether you think he's funny or not, it doesn't matter. People love to hate him. People love to love him, and they go see him. He sells out places. You know what I'm saying? I'm still trying to get people to come watch me. I'm a great comic. You hear what I'm saying? Listen to me. I'm a great comic, okay? You're going to have a good time when you come to my show. I just got to convince people to come to my show. So whatever he's got, he convinces people to come to his show. So whether you like him or not, I don't really care. He's changed my whole feeling about that. It don't matter what people think about someone. It don't matter if they're funny or not. All that matters is if people come watch them. That's all that matters.
He's being facetious. He's being facetious. Like, let's be real. It does matter, innit? Like, that's why you like certain people and you don't like certain people. If it was just all about the art, then your local person around the corner that's really hilarious would be as funny or as successful as somebody like a Kevin Hart. But those things do matter. They all kind of contribute to the kind of greater goal of achieving your aims, especially in the arts. But again, I don't blame the guy. Money does change people's opinion on things. We've seen what happened with Joe Rogan. The moment he got a big check from Spotify, suddenly censorship and stuff didn't really matter to him as much as it did before. We know it. We all have numbers. I would like to think I don't have a number, but I'm pretty sure someone put a certain number in front of me and told me to get on social media and started to pretend. Yeah, if someone put a number in front of me that was crazy and told me to get on social media and start defending Brendan Shaw's comedy, I probably would do it. Right? Because why not? It's a short life. There's only a small niche of people that know about him anyway. Fuck it. But I'd like to think I wouldn't. I'd like to think I'd have principles and morals that would not allow me to do so, because it just isn't my truth. Simple as that. But they live in a weird vortex, innit? This vortex isn't really real life, whatever it is. It's not really even an LA thing. It's just whatever vortex they're in. It's just not real. So you have to kind of play make believe with your own career and play make believe with your own opinions on what you see around you. So whether it's you not selling tickets, it's like, oh, because the show was dead, or I didn't promote it on a Monday, or because this social media post didn't go out. When clearly it's just people don't like you that much to buy tickets to come and see you. It's pretty binary, but you have to kind of work all these fictions in your head to make it make sense. The same goes when you see somebody who might be less funny than you, less funnier than you, sorry, or not as funny as you, getting on stage and selling out different places. You have to justify in your head why you should be getting what they're getting and why you're not getting what they're getting. You know what I mean? It's a weird little thing you have to kind of tell yourself in your brain. So I don't really blame him too much for it, but it is funny to see a grown adult trying to rationalize and spin these things in their heads to make it make sense when clearly it doesn't. It just doesn't. Like it's not a bad thing, it's not a harsh thing, it just doesn't make any sense. We all know it. And also it's hilarious how he's describing Brendan. Everything's hard work. Nothing about being funny. It's all hard work. It's all hustle. It's all entrepreneurship. But it's nothing about, hey, is this guy funny? Like absolutely barnstorming funny. Like he's getting funnier. Every year's improving. He might have started off really bad, but that's what happens to all of us when we're coming up. He's getting there. He'll be good. Nah, it's just all, he's got 3 podcasts. He's got 2 specials, as if those things are markers of success. And the funny thing is, he wouldn't be saying this if they weren't friends. That's what we all know. That's the hypocrisy of this whole thing. If they weren't friends, or if he wasn't getting paid, which was contributing to his, life that he's going to be leading now as a married man and hopefully maybe starting a family, maybe buying a house, he wouldn't be saying this stuff. So clearly they can all be bought. They can all be bought. Every single one of them can be bought. And if they get on Rogan, God forbid Rogan does anything bad. If they get on Rogan, they would never say anything bad about him again, because he essentially has given them the golden ticket. It's okay. Again, I understand it. Just be honest about it. That's the thing I have with it. I'm okay with them, licking ass and pretending they're all going to be flipping friends and this person's funny, that person's funny, but,
In terms of business, you know what I'm saying? You can all have your different tastes. So anyways, I've been on King and the Sting now for, it's been almost a year. So I have a relationship with him too. Okay, that being said, there's some sort of drama going on that I am not privy to this drama, other than it's spilling over into my world. So I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know, we don't talk, I didn't know what was happening, all right? I didn't know what was happening. And then all of a sudden I'm getting hit up like, so whatever happened between Bobby Khalyla and Brendan, whatever happened on Trash Tuesday, whatever happened between Annie, all these people, I don't know. And it had nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with me. And honestly, I don't care. So, however, and I don't appreciate that the fact that the shit is public, that they're dealing with it the way they're dealing with it and making money in the process of doing it. So it's like it's all for content, So then it just riles up all the fans who think they're a part of it. You people think you're a part of it. These people don't care about you or your opinion. So you have your own opinion, and then you're coming at me, bullying me. People keep coming on my game stream. They coming on my chat. They coming on my Instagram like, yo, where do you stand on this? As if it matters what you think. Listen.
One thing I've realized, right, covering this stuff lately, these guys are really dorks, innit? That's what they actually are. Part of me thought stand-up comedians were like social outcasts, right? People like kind of vagabondy type guys. The kind of person who's like, when you go to like a hostel have you ever been traveling? I have, right? I did a bit of traveling in Central America and some of South America. And you sometimes end up in these random hostels, let's say in like Nicaragua, right? And there'll be like a 40-year-old guy there backpacking, smashing all the bartenders, right, in the local town, or all the Australian tourist girls, right? This random dude with a ponytail who's got great stories, he looks amazing, but he's like 45 years old. And then sometimes you look at him some days you look at me like, oh wow, he's aspirational. I want to be that guy. And other days you look at me like, it's sad, isn't it? You're 45, bumming around the hostels, smashing, flipping tourists. But usually they're incredibly funny. They've got great stories, right? And they're great persons to hang out with. The only thing is sometimes they end up asking you for too much money and then always broke and all this sort of stuff, always got excuses. But usually in my head, for whatever reason, I would have thought someone like that would be a stand-up comic. Somebody who's lived an unconventional life, somebody that used to be a DJ at a strip club, a bouncer at a nightclub, who used to maybe manage musicians, who used to, whatever, something that would require you exist on the outskirts of normal life. You know what I mean? But really and truly, these guys are just dorks. That's what they are. They're just dorks who then get older, start doing stand up, and then start cosplaying as some sort of freedom fighters, right? As some sort of bastions of free speech or whatever it may be called, or anti-censorship or whatever. And then you have this guy who's, I don't know, he's in his 30s, he's in his 40s. He's crying and complaining about bullying. And what's the bullying he's talking about? Not somebody approaching him on the street, harassing his family, calling up his family's work, place of work, extended friendship group. No, just fans asking him, hey, because you're friends with these people, what's your opinion on this pretty crazy story that's been all over the internet the last few weeks? That to him is deemed as bullying. That to him is enough for him to be riled. Because I get the feeling watching this video, he seems quite angry. I'm like, why is this angry? Why is this guy angry for? It's got nothing to do with you, and he's really pent up and pissed off. It's because he legitimately thinks this is bullying. This is bullying to him. This is something that he feels like is unfair, like he's being put into a corner. He's been made to choose. He's been made to, God forbid, have a position. He's just unraveling here in a weird way. And maybe it's because fundamentally he's an absolute dork with a capital D. Somebody who no one would give a shit about if he wasn't a comedian. Not in a mean way, do you know what I mean? But he's not cool, he's not interesting, just a guy, innit, who just tells jokes on the stage. And that's essentially what it is. If you didn't know about stand-up or care about the extended universe of these people, you probably wouldn't know who he is. Obviously, you probably wouldn't know who I am either, but still, you know what I mean? They make it seem as if they're really important. And then when you try to, yeah, this is the thing. This is the flipping nonsense that kind of perpetuates from these people. They make it seem as if they're very important. Then when you treat them as being people that are very important, and you give them the respect or attention people that are important get by talking to them, asking them questions, getting in their DMs, leaving them comments, tagging them in things. When it's stuff that they don't like, they deem as bullying and they start crying and complaining on their podcast. Make your mind up, mate. Do you want fans? Do you want to sell tickets? Do you want to take people on drug walks? You're gonna have to put up with a few of these comments, isn't it? Like, well, go on for this guy, man. He's a fucking loser. He's crying because people are asking him to comment on a story concerning one of his best friends, remember, who he doesn't really get along with well. Standard LA, a best friend you don't get along with, or then you're crying that people are asking you questions. Like, you can just ignore them too if you want, mate, or give them the big block. It's not a big deal, innit? God damn it! What an absolute dun.
What I now know behind the scenes, it ain't my business to talk about publicly, so I'm not going to. All I'm saying is, why you bullying me? Why you coming at me with this drama? As if like, you know what I mean? Like, what I know this, I know they gonna take care of it on their own. It's a lot of he said, she said. It's a lot of everybody has their own perception of what they think the other person is doing and saying. And then other people are involved that they're going to all come out with their own stuff. You will see. And this week, they're going to handle their business. What I'm requesting is don't bring me in it. What do I have to do with this? You know what I mean? It's like, you know,
Sorry, the mic was not on there. Sorry, I was just apologies. I was basically saying, right? I was just saying the funny thing about this guy is that he's telling, like, he's saying people shouldn't be involved and shouldn't get emotional about this stuff. It's not your business and blah. I don't know, whatever he's talking about, right? But isn't this the same guy that was crying when Bobby Lee wasn't getting online and playing computer games with him, Twitch, whatever they were doing, right? They were streaming on Twitch, and I think Erik Griffin was doing some sort of show or something. He wanted Bobby to get on it, and Bobby was doing what Bobby does and ghosting him and not being around and being elusive and doing his whole weird thing. And then, if I'm not mistaken, he was also really upset when he found out Bobby Lee was starting bad friends with Andrew Santino. Because from what we know about these people and how they present themselves online, Erik Griffin and Bobby Lee have been friends way longer than Bobby Lee and Andrew Santino have been friends. So it would be a bit weird that you would see all of a sudden, Andrew Santino with Bobby Lee doing a podcast. If anything, it should be Erik doing it with him. So clearly that was a sign that maybe they're not as close as friends as he thinks they are. He thinks they're best friends, which, they're obviously not, but maybe they're LA best friends. And he was really upset by it, which he probably should be. He has every right to be upset. Maybe because he wasn't told, maybe because it was done behind his back, maybe because he was promised he would be doing it with Bobby instead, whatever it may be. But clearly, people, and I think that's the point I made in one of the videos where I was talking about, he's getting kicked off King of the Sting, and then clearly my prediction didn't pan out because he was back on the show as a regular, after the fact. But from what I've seen with little things here and there, people in that comedy scene don't really rate Erik Griffin much either. He might think he's a great comic, but his peers don't really treat him like he's a great comic. They treat him like nothing. Do you know what I mean? Like, not like nothing, but do you know what I mean? He doesn't have the reverence that he probably should be having with his friends. But they treat other people who are way less funnier than him the same way that he would want to be treated. Interesting predicament there. But regardless, man, this guy is a very bizarre human.
And then here's the thing that people don't understand. This is how I am now. You come at me one time out of pocket on my Instagram. One time. If you say some disparaging things about me, my lady, just something that I go, that's out of pocket.
What are you going to do?
I'm not even going to explain what that means.
What are you going to do?
If you don't know, you don't know.
What are you going to do?
Let me tell you what happens to you.
What are you going to do?
Remove follower. Restrict. Hide story. I don't even block you. I just leave it like.
So if that's the case, why are you talking about this now? Why are you crying about this? Like, honestly, this is, you have to be, is there no level of embarrassment at this stuff? Like, it's like people who share screenshots of people that have blocked them online. Like, what are you doing that for? Who's meant to be patting you on the back that you got blocked by somebody for saying something rude to them? Congratulations, you're an arsehole. Wow, good on you. You got blocked for being an arsehole to somebody. Haha, congrats. Same with this. Why is he announcing he's restricting people and limiting them from their story? Who cares? If this is something rude to you, you're within your right to block them, of course. If they're coming after you or your lady, of course you should be blocking them. But these weird threats online about people leaving comments is just completely R-worded. It really is. Like, you're a stand-up comedian, brother. Like, I don't know. Maybe let stuff roll off your back. Is it really that big of a deal? You're not even involved. This is the thing. He's not even involved in this. Like, what? Or is he afraid it's going to come out that maybe he's the one that gave flipping Brendan Khalyla's number or something? I don't know. Why is he bothered about this stuff? Like, fuck me, man. Just chill. Relax. If you say something mean, I'm going to block, limit, remove comment. It's like all these games.
That, okay? I'll leave it like that. Now, when your message comes up on my Instagram now, it says restrict. I just delete. I will never, ever see anything you have to say to me ever again. If you tweet at me something, it's out of pocket, I hit mute. I will never, ever see anything you have to say again. That's how I deal with it. And that's what I've been doing now for 4 days. Just timing out people on my Twitch. They keep coming, go, hey, what do you think about this? As if I owe you an explanation. That's like the craziness of it, you know? It's bananas. how people are.
If you don't owe anyone an explanation, why are you talking about this? Like, that's what I said earlier before. There's only two positions to have on this thing. Two. Either you believe everything Bobby Lee Khalyla are saying, or you believe what Brendan's saying. But the other position to have in the middle is, I don't give a fuck. This is just entertainment, or I don't care. I'm out smashing flipping tens on the road. I don't care. I'm making loads of money. I'm selling loads of tickets. That's the other position. But you can't have your cake and eat it. You can't talk about it and then say you don't want to talk about it. You can't complain that if people ask you questions and then you explain why you're not answering the questions. And then you explain how you're blocking them. You just got to leave it alone. But you can't, because the addiction to attention is just so high. Stand-up comedian, give me attention all the time. Please, 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 please. It's like, it's not that big of a deal, really. People cheat on each other all the time. People slide into DMs of people all the time. Really. It happens every single day, I'm assuming. Come on, man. Get a grip, my G. But here he is crying and complaining about this. God damn it.
They're so invested in this. Y'all so invested as if you're sitting there. That's the nature of podcast, though. I get it. When you watch a podcast, you watch comedians being sort of, you feel like, oh wow, I'm privy to some insider information. Trust me, you are not.
No one's thinking that. He's probably the same type of guy that watches 90 Day Fiancé and then gets on social media and starts writing flipping threads about why this guy should do this and why this woman should do this. If you do that too, you have no leg to stand on. It's the same thing. No one sits here, even myself being one of them. I'm not privy to nothing. I interpret the situations as I see it with my eyes and listening to what people say, but that's it. I don't go any further. I don't do even the smallest bit of research. I don't try and find out what people's actual names are, whatever they present online. That's what I go by. I don't do red bar research. I'm not there digging into people, trying to find out who does what. I don't give a fuck. It's not that deep. It really isn't. It's just entertaining to watch from afar, as all these other people are that tuning into the stream. They do the same thing. But I would love it. I bet, honestly, I really do bet this guy is one of those people that writes essays about 90 Day Fiancé. He's there flipping, breaking down why Game of Thrones season 8 was so bad, why the writers didn't do this and do that. But then if you pay too much attention or ask him too many questions about his friends in stand-up comedy who provide content online to a similar degree as any other TV series, and maybe more in terms of their frequency they put them out, all of a sudden you're overstepping the mark. All of a sudden you're doing too much. You're trying to be involved in things you shouldn't be involved in. All right, mate, all right.
There is more to this than you will ever hear or know about.
Yeah, sure.
And it's none of your business. So stop attacking people who are a little bit connected. It's like, I'm in the middle. Y'all coming at me like I'm supposed to draw a line in the sand and be like, I'm never talking to this guy again or never talking to that guy again. What are you talking about? One guy, you know what I mean?
But that's the thing though. Isn't one guy your best friend? If one guy's your best friend and one guy you've only met because you work with him, shouldn't that be a reason for you to draw a line in the sand? No? If one person is actually your best friend and you've only met someone because you work with them, your loyalties should be easy to pick, innit? You should be easy to who you're going to be siding with, right or wrong. That's what a best friend should be about. If your best friend comes and says, look, I need a body to be buried. Part of the rationale of being a best friend is being like, I hate you for doing this to me and getting me involved, but where's the shovel? That should be part of being a best friend. Not, oh, but actually it's the, no. Get me the shovel. You're a piece of shit. Don't talk to me for a year, but I'm going to help you bury it in this moment. That's what a best friend should be doing, isn't it? But again, this is LA best friend, isn't it? So circumstantial things.
I mean, anyways, I'm just saying, I feel for everybody involved in this situation because it's very complicated and nuanced. It's a nuanced situation, and I feel bad for the people involved. But, again, don't bring me into this. That's one of my requests to you, okay? I'm letting it go today in the chat. Like, I can't just time out everybody in the chat that wants to say what they want to say. You know what I mean? So I'm going to let this go today because there's nothing I can do about it, right? I don't want to spend here all day because I'm live right now going in and doing this. But I understand.
He's one of those people. He's one of those people that times out people, that limits you. Like, this guy's a fucking... He whines and complains all the time. He sits there flipping, whining and complaining when you ask him questions. He's just a big old bag of misery, innit? Like, just fucking hell.
I understand what you feel, but like, you don't got access like this, like with me, with them. Like,
all right,
these two guys, like,
all right, I can't do this anymore. He's gloating that he knows friends, and okay, now he's sucking himself off. All right, cool, bruv. Congratulations. Anyway, you can watch the rest of it if you want. Erik Griffin talking out of his ass. It is what it is. Let's move. Guy's a fucking idiot. Let's continue. Next on the docket. Next on the docket, we have a little insight into what might be happening behind the scenes at Thick Boy Studios. What's this guy's name? BG. I call him BG. What's his actual name? Hella Mark Harley. Or we call him BG. I didn't know that was his name, actually. So this is the Mark that Khalyla was talking about. I thought you were Mark Norman. Okay, so Hella Mark Harley. What kind of name is that? HMH. But I guess someone will say, what kind of name is my name? But yeah, Hella Mark Harley. Cool. This dude is now, by all accounts, in charge of the Fighting a Kid flipping Instagram account. And he's now, I guess, maybe convinced Brendan to maybe lean into the trolls, lean into the showbisms, and try to embrace the meme. In my opinion, this should have been done 5 years ago, 6 years ago, right? It's too late now. The horse has been bolted. The homeless cats are what they are. You're not going to now try and herd the cats and try to be the flipping shepherd. It's not going to happen. It's a little too late. That's what I think anyway. A little bit too late for all that nonsense. But they're trying. They're trying to give it a go. And this guy has kind of now been employed as the de facto protector of Brendan and his reputation online. And he did his best job to, pseudo-intellectualize himself out of whatever Brendan's doing and make sense of it. For me, he's just talking absolute bullshit. But we're going to give him a go and see what he has to say and comment as we go on.
But I'm going to give you a definition of a word that I have been seeing a lot lately, specifically coming from people who are fans of the H3 podcast and the moron who hosts that. So the word bully has been bandied around. People who are good friends of mine have been called bully behavior. You're a bully. You bullied me. And when it comes to rhetoric and breaking down arguments, the foundation of the language that we use to have these arguments and debates and come at the truth is the definitions of words.
Fuck off, you fucking cunt. What's he talking about? What's this guy talking about, man? What is this? He's trying to get to the etymology of words now. Is that what we're doing? To explain away why Brendan decided it was a good idea to jump in the DMs of Khalyla to allegedly tell Annie that if she wanted, or proposition Annie for a drug walk. That was the genesis of the issue, right? Just come out and apologize. Say I'm sorry publicly. I'm gonna do better. I did wrong. Whatever. I didn't know what I was doing here, and keep it moving. But now we are where we are now, where this man has to sit on these little podcasts and try to Lucian Freud his way out of this. I can't with these. This group of people are just amazing. I love them, man. And isn't Brendan one of the main culprits of diluting what bullying actually means in this whole predicament? Didn't he get on the podcast and basically insinuate that he was being bullied? What? All right. Let's go. No more stopping.
You might talk to a libertarian who will tell you taxation is slavery, but he has to manipulate the word slavery so much that it loses its real definition, becomes so broad that anything you're doing that you don't want to do, your mom makes you wash the dishes, and that's slavery, right? So you have to first agree to a standard definition of a word before you can move forward. Otherwise, the entire conversation gets muddled and it's pointless, and you're talking past each other, but one person is going to be wrong because they're using a word in an inappropriate way. Bullying is an ongoing, keyword there, ongoing and deliberate misuse of power. If you don't have any power, you can't bully anyone. In relationships through repeated verbal, physical, and or social behavior that intends to cause physical, social, and or psychological harm. It can involve an individual or group misusing their power or perceived power over one or more persons who feel unable to stop it from happening. The American Psychological Association defines bullying as a form of aggressive behavior in which someone intentionally and repeatedly causes another person injury or discomfort. Bullying can take the form of physical contact, words, or...
Oh, fuck off. So because he said repeatedly at the end, is he trying to suggest because Brian only shouted at Bobby Lee once over the phone, that doesn't constitute as bullying because it wasn't repeated? It was only on one occasion. Even though what Bobby Lee said on the podcast was that the bullying is like it's constant, right? It's the kind of it's like a cloud that kind of hovers over everyone's head because of Joe Rogan's oversized kind of influence or whatnot, or because of how those guys basically run their little scene and their little industry that they're in. That's basically why that bullying exists. No one has to come out and overtly say to you things, over the phone, or shout at you, or say mean things to you, or get at you, or threaten you with whatever. It could be just the mere presence of them in certain spaces that can make you feel as if you're being bullied. And sometimes it can be true because sometimes it can be non-verbal. But this guy suggested because Bryan Called only did it once that it's not bullying. All right, cool.
Or more subtle actions. A bully can be an aggressive juvenile, an intimidating boss or colleague, a controlling romantic partner, an unruly neighbor, a high-pressure sales business representative, a condescending family member, a shaming social acquaintance, or those in a variety of other types of abusive relationships. But the key word there and the key theme there is ongoing, with intention to cause injury or discomfort for the sake of such. So, if, for example, you get in an argument with a friend over a misunderstanding and you were really pissed at that person because they thought you did something like steal your car, and then it turns out, I just parked it in the wrong place. My bad, and you apologize. Is that a form of bullying? I would say that's a misunderstanding that led to some unfortunate anger, and if the person apologizes afterwards, well, it proves my point that it can't be ongoing, and it can't be something that, bullies tend to not apologize on their own accord, right? So,
how far do you take that stance? Or is that only applied to bullying? Would you say that to a rapist? If they only do it once, does that mean they're not a rapist? Do you say that once to murderers? To cheats? To liars? What?
I've gotten a lot of accusations that, for example, Brendan's a bully. In my DMs, people writing me, and I go, talk to this one guy, I go, give me one example of that. Gives me a story from a video that Brendan told 5 years ago about playing college football and getting into a conflict with his roommate that ultimately ended in him pushing him through a glass door, but during a fight. And
No. It wasn't a fight, by the way. I'd want to go. Again, these guys, I love it. When you're friends with somebody, you do excuse the bullshit. But let's be factual about this. The way Brendan described the story, it was very one-sided. There was a guy that he was sharing a dorm with when he was playing football. The genesis of their beef was that the guy was labeling his food, and Brendan thought it was ridiculous to label food. We're in a dorm, we're sharing it together, we should be sharing each other's food. The guy clearly wasn't down for the sharing of food, labeled it or started to hide stuff, and then Brendan thought that was a form of of aggression or like a microaggression or some sort of him trying to get him riled up, and they get into some sort of physical. No, Brendan then tries to get into physical altercation with the guy, but he doesn't want to fight him, and they get into so he basically instigates the fight. The guy clearly doesn't want to fight back, and it then results in him flying through a glass window, hence the phrase "gadoosh." But that was clear textbook evidence of somebody bullying somebody. He said clearly that he wasn't comfortable sharing food. However gay you think that is, however lame you think that is, he doesn't want to share food. He's clearly has different views about it. Leave the guy alone. He doesn't. He keeps on doing it. I think he gets to a point where he spits in his face or something. Crazy shit happens in there. It's not just, oh, they got into a fight. No, they didn't get into a fight. Brendan started the fight, kept on going with the fight, and ended the fight without the other guy throwing even a punch in anger. And then when the guy's mum called him up on the phone, he hung up on her. I don't know what you call that, but in where I'm from, that's a form of bullying, my friend. Oh mate, but I gotta respect him, man. He's probably got himself like, I'm gonna defend Brendan at all cost. I'm gonna suspend flipping, reality for it. I'm gonna twist the very nature of space and time to make whatever Brendan does make sense. God damn it.
Again, that's one of these things where they're peers, it's not ongoing. They're going back and forth to each other, escalating the situation. And I played college football too. At the D3 level, we had fist fights every day. We would shit in each other's helmets. We would poke fun at each other's bodies. Is that bullying? I don't think so, because we all participated in back and forth. And if you're free to retaliate against it, well, then you're sort of in an equal, more egalitarian dynamic that really cancels out any notion of bullying. If you're on the same plane as an acquaintance, or you have a bigger platform, or you're more successful, or you have the same social connections and influence, then it makes the claim of bullying a little bit hard to make. You can't have isolated incidents of emotion based on misunderstandings qualify as that. So it's just something in general.
Imagine a bully like this trying to explain to you why he's not bullying you as he's taking your lunch money. This isn't bullying. I'm merely suggesting that you should hand over the money that was given to you by your parents in order for you to acquire said food, so that I can acquire the said food that you were going to eat and then spit it back into your face so that you can have something to eat at the end of the day. That is not bullying. That is merely me suggesting to you a better way to use your funds. And we call that socialism. What is this fucking donut talking about?
In general, I'd like to clear that up, and we will do more of this as we need to define words in order to make a case that some people are telling the truth and some people are misusing the most basic elements of language to paint false narratives that serve to portray themselves as victims and disqualify others for being victims. Because you know what bullying also is?
Bullying is that comment from Patricia Walker. Isn't D3 worse than D1 and D2? That's so true. Big up Patricia Walker with the 3-point from way, way, way out of bounds. Oh my God. Isn't D3 worse than D1 and D2? Yes, I think it is, mate. I think it is. Okay. You know what? I'm going to listen to my audience. People here are telling me to turn it off. People hate him. Okay. If you guys want me to stop listening to this and just jump onto the Brendan on the freaking Tigerbelly podcast, then let me know in the chat. Should I just jump off this and move straight away? What people say in the chat? I'll go by what you guys say. D3's party school. So what? He was playing football against Bert Kreischer. Is that what he was doing? Okay, watch Tigerbelly. Everyone say watch Tigerbelly. Watch Tigerbelly. Jump off. Okay, cool. I'm jumping off now. BGL got a resounding nope from this audience. A resounding nope. Okay, cool. Let's move. Let's go to watch. Let's do Tigerbelly. I don't even have it up here. But do you have? Is the video out yet? Let's see if the video's out. But yeah, big up, big up everybody. Oh, that's amazing. Big up flipping Trish. That was amazing. D3 worse than D1 and D2. I didn't even catch it at first when he first said it. Such a weird thing to brag about. But Americans have a weird thing with sports like that, and especially when they haven't played at a really high level. They tend to kind of latch onto and hold onto the most minor of things as some sort of weird marker of athletic success or something. It's very, very strange. Or to make them seem badass. I don't know. I don't really get it. I don't really know why they do that, but I guess it is what it is. Oh, okay. It's not out. The video portion of the show isn't out yet. So let's listen to the what you call it, the audio version of it, and hear what our guy had to say about the entire thing. Where should we get it? It's Podbay, innit? Yes, with Podbay. Let's jump it on up into the screen and see what this extravaganza was about. So, let me get this up on the screen. Bear with me. Let me also mute myself before I cough again. Cool. Come on. Are you loading? Yeah, there you go. It's cool. I don't want to share the episode. Leave me alone. Cool. So let's jump right into it. This is Brendan Schaub on the Tigerbelly podcast. Personally, if it was me and if I was Bobby Lee Khalyla, I wouldn't have had this guy on the show. I don't think there was anything to be gained from it. And judging by the clips I've seen or I've heard, clearly nothing was gained from this. Brendan kind of doubled down in a weird redacted sort of way. They tried their best to explain to him why what had happened, was bad, why whatever suspicion he had was wrong, but it clearly didn't get through his head because he's already made his mind up or he's incapable of thinking on any kind of critical level. But regardless, it is what it is. It's, again, I don't think served any purpose. No one really won from this conversation. It was a complete waste of time, I felt like. And if anything, it made Brendan look worse than what he's already looking now. He's incapable of being self-aware, incapable of admitting his faults, incapable of just kind of allowing the person to sort of, share their pain without him also painting himself as a victim. And we're going to be witnessing this in real time. So let's play this and see how it goes.
All right, guys.
John Crook.
I'm going to just naturally ease into it. We don't have to get into it right away. Let's just ease into it. Everything's fine. Okay?
Is it?
It's not.
I was about to drive my car off the pizza.
Yeah. So let's just ease into it.
Well, that's why you're here, because we don't want you to do that.
Yeah. So go ahead, Gil. Start.
I'll just be a
Let me just start,
Okay.
and then I'll introduce you. It'll be fine. Go ahead.
I'll start when you guys ease into it.
That's
what I'll say.
All right, go ahead.
There's a calm countdown. 5,
Calm count.
4, 3, 2.
You motherfucker! All right, so go ahead.
Four hitmen come in.
5.
Faiths. Zoroastrianism, Judaism.
Wait, what is that again?
It's one of the original way before
Original?
Christianity.
Right.
Google it. I might become one. I've said some really weird, fucked up things, on radio shows and podcasts. But in general, it's about just physical comedy and just having fun. And it's a way to unleash energy and to express myself. Empathy toward, but I've always only said positive things about you to people, and the people that you do your podcast with. Theo and I are very good friends, and so that being said, let's introduce our guest. He's the co-host, or it's his podcast, Fighter and the Kid, and also.
Are you gonna say Tigerbelly?
Yeah.
Almost said Tiger.
I'm a little nervous. King, Sting, and the Wing. Let's give Brendan Schaub. Give him a round of applause.
I'm here to convert you guys to Scientology. That's why I'm here. The #1 religious
We
podcast.
watched that documentary years ago.
Insane.
Insane.
Yeah.
So I just want to open up
Most
with
awkward podcast.
this is really
I've done
Right.
10,000.
I know, me too.
Freshly.
But what? Yeah.
Chefs.
No cook. Figure
Listeners, $25.
the Celeb Kingdom has Brooklyn. Do you know why?
Sheet.
Wants Lux Sheets.
Both you guys, and you have always been nice to me. And that goes so far with me because when I came into comedy, I was a tough sell, man. Still am.
Yeah.
So the people that were nice to me, I never forget.
Uh-huh.
I never, ever forget, ever.
And you know what?
Oh, really, dude? You're nice to them, you never forget? Oh, really, dude? As Crystalia would say, so nice to them that you jump in the DMs of one of your, biggest fans, girl, with a flipping demon eyes emojis and peach, whatever thing he sent. God, lying already. Out of the gate. Lying already. Gotta love Brendan.
I believe you. I believe you. Which makes it this a little bit difficult for me because of what because we're just gonna lay it out there. What happened a week and a half ago. And I just want to kind of slowly get into it. You know what I mean? And because I just want to talk about the truth and
Me too.
and getting to the root of whatever this problem is.
I mean,
Okay,
the only reason I'm here
Yeah.
is to get to that
Okay.
and for us to move on.
Okay.
It's literally the only reason I'm here.
All right. So let's start with I'm in Oklahoma. I'm at dinner. And you text me that there's a journalist doing an article about me.
Mm-hmm. No, not just you. Keep going.
Yeah, there's a journalist that's doing an article about. Well, on the text, I just read it. You said it was about me. Maybe, you implied something else, but that's what I read.
Mm-hmm.
And then I texted you. What?
The exact words for a journalist contacted me. Not good for you.
Not good for you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And which got me spinning a little bit. And I
For sure.
texted you what, and you said you can't do it through text. Then before we talked on the phone, I had a conversation with a cohort of mine. I don't want to throw his name in there, but and you had texted him the same thing, which he found a little weird. So anyway, I called or you called. I forget how that happened, and all of a sudden I was in a 3-way call with you and somebody that you are associated with. I'm not gonna say his name, and
You can though. He
I don't want to.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Can I?
You can.
I mean, you can
You
if you
can.
want to.
Yeah, it was Brian Callen.
Yeah.
Just so you know, Brian did, before you go on, I don't want to interrupt you. Brian did say on Firing the Kid how he royally messed up with that engagement with you. Royally messed up.
Okay.
Carry on.
Uh-huh. So,
That's probably the most egregious part of this whole entire story. It's all well and good Brendan doing whatever self-deception that he wants in order to make himself feel better about the situation, to paint himself out to be the victim. Cool. Do what needs to be done in it. Whatever needs to be done to sleep well at night, whatever needs to be done to, save his marriage or whatnot. I don't know. It's not my business. Cool. The side thing the most egregious part is how he managed to get Brian to jump out of the window, literally, and essentially commit suicide and kill any friendship that he had with Bobby Lee, when in reality, him and Bobby Lee have been comedic friends or work friends, whatever it may be called, for maybe close to 30 years, right? Mad TV people from the Comedy Store, both passed, like they've been around the block. And he would throw all of that away on the mere suggestion, impression, whatever, inference that potentially Bobby Lee was behind the flipping Firing the Kid subreddit or some bullshit. Like, my word, man. The flipping yarns that Brendan has people spinning for him is just insane. Especially when you realize how redacted he is. It's not even like he's very sophisticated. He's a very brutish, almost blunt force type of guy, but the people around him who really like him seems to really, really go for bat for him. Brian's willing to flip and sacrifice a friendship with a long-time friend for it. One that probably would never recover from the back of this.
But I found it to be extremely traumatic in the sense that if it was somebody that I didn't know, that'd be one thing. But you know, Brian and I have had a very long relationship.
30 years,
yeah,
maybe?
a long time. You know, I've been to his house for Super Bowl parties. We were on the same show together, not at the same time, but he's a Mad TV alumni as well.
Also, a slight bit of annoyance. I'm not going to pause it too often, but slight bit of annoyance. I do hate this little thing that he's doing where he's trying to make it seem as if they're having like a cordial podcast chat. This isn't cordial. You're only there because of what was alleged on the podcast that you jumped into Khalyla's DM 7 years ago. You offered Annie Lederman allegedly a drug walk, and you tried to make it seem as if it didn't happen. They reiterated it happened, and they exposed the whole cabal of threatening, bully culture that exists in stand-up comedy in LA. This is why you're there. It's not because they want to have a catch-up and find out how you're doing. Like, this weird kind of friendly thing he's doing is really bizarre, man.
As I am, and him and I have been really kindred spirits.
Yeah,
you know,
comedy store guys.
Comedy store guys, and you know. So when you guys called, it was you and Brian, and you said that that you guys, my career was going to be over. That you guys have evidence, you know what I mean? That that I'm some Reddit mastermind. That you have files and proof that you can trace, you know, me from Reddit back to my house, the URL, you know,
IP address.
the IP address, and that I have been for 5 or 6 years have been coyly and you know, mischiefully, you know, contributing to threads that were
Not contributing.
What?
Didn't you say it was, well, from what you had said, that we were responsible.
right? And that you know, that you were going to expose me to Rogan and all these people, and that I should get a lawyer, and that I mean, this is what you told me, and also, just mind you, it was at a level 10 of rage. It wasn't like a soft-spoken, like, you know,
Very
what I mean?
aggressive.
Yeah, it was extreme. You know what I mean? Threats, and then you called Khalyla things I don't even want to mention.
I did not.
I know you didn't.
I would, and I haven't heard what you guys said. I don't talk like that. I would never call Khalyla that. That's
Right.
not.
I don't get this part. So who did call her these things? If there's only 3 people on the phone, Brian, Bobby Lee, and Brendan, who did call her that stuff then? Did Brian get on the line and start blasting Khalyla and calling her a bitch and a slut or a whore and stuff? Who did say these things then? Let's put that out there.
Not in my
Brendan,
verbiage.
you called me that on the phone call we had.
I did not call you that.
Brent, you
I did not.
No, but you
address
don't know what they said, so you can't.
The stuff that I got was pretty on par to just about
What-
the worst
what-
thing you could tell somebody.
Brian apologized. What Brian said on there, and even I told him that was a lot.
It was a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot.
But what I found to be heartbreaking was going into a character assassination where you were saying, not you in particular, I don't even remember what, because I was I was so trembling almost, calling me a coward, weak, spineless. And my only defense to that is that I just have my own way of dealing with the world, you know what I mean? Because I grew up in such a traumatic childhood. I try to be passive, and I try to not, I'm afraid of confrontation, as everyone knows, in terms of my character. And, I said to Brian days after that assault that, I no longer want to be his friend.
Mm-hmm. And did you guys speak on the phone, or was
Yeah,
it
we
just
did.
text?
Yeah.
And he
We spoke on the phone.
apologized, he said?
Yeah, he did apologize.
You see again how he's doing this thing where he's removing himself from the issue and making it seem like he's the middleman. Why don't you address what he said? He said you called him weak, spineless, pathetic, whatever it may be called. Why don't you address those things? Like, explain why you said those things. Maybe say sorry. Maybe if you're gonna interrupt to say sorry. Why is he interrupting to be like, did you talk to him yesterday or you text him? It's like garbage human, mate. Garbage human.
But yeah, I mean,
He doesn't expect you to be his friend.
yeah, it's not. It's done.
Yes.
But that being said, also I will never say anything bad about him. I think that he is one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life. I really do.
And can I give some context to that call?
Yeah, please.
And we definitely, I'll admit straight up, we definitely didn't handle that the way two adults should have handled that.
Mm-hmm.
The context behind that is I never talk about this stuff ever. Our podcast is usually fun. We don't talk about the negative stuff that I deal with. Brian wasn't aware of the negativity that I deal with. Everybody gets stuff on Reddit. Everybody in this room, I don't know if you guys do. You guys do for sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure Khalyla does.
We all do.
Being a woman in this space. So there's a difference between hate and then straight evil, toxic, criminal behavior. And for 6 years, I've dealt with this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you want to criticize my comedy, the podcast, so be it. That's the internet. That's what we sign up for. But when it crosses over into harassment of my family, death threats, my kids, going for sponsors, companies that I work with, my business, that's where it gets dicey. So it would have to get so dicey to the point where my team gets notified on this, because I'm not on social media, or sure as hell not on Reddit or any of these forums. And the reason I'm not on there, it's not because I think I'm better than social media. I don't need it. Of course I do.
Yeah,
I'm a
you do.
comic.
No, you
I'm
do.
not on it because it hurts my feelings.
No, you're not on it because you think you're better. You're not on it because you don't think you're above feedback. You're not on it because you don't want to lower yourself to communicating with your fans. You're not on it because most of your fans, most of the people that communicate with you on social don't think you're funny. If you was getting, love on social like other people do, or like other people who communicate with their fans, he would obviously communicate with them, but he doesn't because he doesn't get love from it. And then he adopts this Joe Rogan stance, because he can't do the Joe Rogan stance because he's not Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan cannot and should not communicate with his fans on social media because he has too many. There'll be too many points of influence and input coming at him at once to keep abreast of it. I can only imagine what it's like being Joe Rogan on a day-to-day basis, walking around LA and shit, having people stop you every 10 minutes. Imagine on social media, people jumping into your money, people jumping into your inbox, asking for money, asking for advice, all this stuff. They want to get on the show. It's just too much. So Joe should have somebody sorting his social, or have somebody maybe relaying back messages. But if you're someone like a Brendan, all this kind of people, you should maybe have an idea what people are saying about you on social media. You should maybe be tapped in. The fact that he doesn't want to be tapped in is because it's not all positive. He wants to live in a world where the only content or the only communication coming back to you from your fans is positive. It can't be negative. If it's negative, it gets blocked. How do you live that way? This is what you've created this, and then he's created this in weird vortex where people go out of their way to say the most meanest things to get his attention. He's done it to himself.
Because I can't handle that stuff. I don't do well with it. It was so toxic, I got out.
You're entrusting a team to report back to you. And when you hear from that team, you're receiving it as gospel. This must be accurate information that I'm receiving from them.
These guys. Yes. So this is how we get here. Good question. Yeah. So this is how we get here. So hate, I understand. There's a lot to hate on. But again, when it crosses over into criminal and this other stuff, and they get notified because a member of that group is abusing a 6-year-old child with autism, and then the Reddit moderator gets affected, and they start talking. So then they look into it, and that's how we get here. And they look into it, and they go, "Hey, let you know, one of the 6 accounts that has done most of the posting is associated with Tigerbelly."
Doesn't this sound awfully convenient? Khalyla gets onto a podcast and is riffing with her other podcast co-host about shitty dudes. And he mentions a story where some dude offered her a trug walk. She declined, obviously. That then spurns Khalyla to remember a story about quite possibly the same person sliding into her DMs around Christmas or something when that person was in a relationship and when Khalyla was in a very public relationship with Bobby Lee. It then gets back to this said person that it could be him being exposed, and just out of the blue, an investigation falls on his lap where it's alleged that a account on Reddit that might be responsible for a video where a person is attacking somebody with autism, a kid with autism or something. Like, come on, bruv. Come on. What is all these fanciful stories? And who are they talking about? Are they talking about Unique? Are they talking about that video where he's shouting at somebody in his house or something? It's a live stream, right? Where he's on live stream and someone comes in and maybe there's some sort of physical altercation. I don't know. I didn't look too much into it. I don't really give a shit, really. But is that the excuses he's using to justify what? Not saying sorry, for sliding into the DMs, for threatening Bobby Lee with his career. They didn't even, something like they got on the phone and asked him, hey, are you on Reddit? Do you know how to set Reddit up? Like, do you know these accounts? I don't know. Just ask them a question. Like, had him to sit down. Like, let's go through this because this is a bit weird. No, they immediately threw off the handle. Not because of his alleged ties to Reddit, but because his wife dared to expose a story that would embarrass him. That's basically the reason.
Now, with all the toxic hate, everything that I get, this awful stuff, I expect that from people I don't know. When I found out it was somebody that I know, but and that's where the aggressiveness came from.
But is it true?
That's why I'm here.
I think this is not helpful because this happened a week and a half ago when, in fact, this drama, if we're going to talk about context, started in January. And I think while I really appreciate you being here, I truly believe you're a guy who cares for his family. I do believe you feel you're on the back foot here. And, you feel like your livelihood is under attack. I understand the hurt all around that.
Appreciate it.
But there is a lot more context to what you guys are talking about, which is that phone call that happened a week and a half ago. And if it's okay with you, because I don't want there to be any confusion moving forward, I'd like to start from the very beginning and just get to the God honest truth. Because if we don't do this in a systematic way of when it started and how did we end up here.
The start with when I was notified of the Reddit group?
No.
Where do you want to start?
No.
To start with a Trash Tuesday podcast.
Okay.
Yeah. Because, I mean...
But here's where it gets conflicted is those are almost two separate things.
It certainly didn't feel that way.
And I understand that, and I respect.
Of course. I'm glad Khalyla's there because Bobby Lee he's so not confrontational and he's so clearly uncomfortable being in a space with Brendan and talking about this that he's kind of clammed up like he always does. So I'm really thankful that Khalyla's there because if Khalyla wasn't there, Bobby Lee might end up agreeing to get on the phone with Brendan or with Brian and hash it out and pretend they're all friends and talk about Comedy Store stuff and comment on his special. That would have probably happened because he just would have wanted to have peace. But I'm glad Khalyla's like coming up and saying, no, let's just talk about this properly. Like, this is... He's saying they're not two separate issues. They're connected. They're connected. That's why you shouted at the guy on the phone. If they're not, why would you shout at someone on the phone if they're not connected? Because you're riled up. You're pissed off about the story getting out there, about the drug walk and about this flipping DM. Like, this guy.
Back to, and we can talk about this so we get to the end of it. When it goes to the Reddit group, that's where that call came from, and then this stuff that we're talking about with Trash Tuesday, and if I had a time machine and I could go back, I would have called. The reason we're here is because I didn't handle this well, and I'll say this right now, and I'll get back to that Trash Tuesday stuff. Let's say, and I'm not saying this in any facet, I truly believe neither of you have anything to do with this Reddit group. Maybe someone on your team had, or
No.
Hold on, I'm just telling you from my
Okay,
perspective.
okay.
Like to okay.
Yeah, and you can too.
Because
You
my
can
team
too.
is here, and
And that's fine.
I have
This is everybody in the.
this is my family.
Yeah.
So if you're coming to me saying you're not responsible, but your team is, you're coming for my family. I've been with these guys for 8 years.
I'm with you, Khalyla. I'm with you, and I would love for you guys to explain it. And that is why I'm here. And that is why I'm here.
Okay, but
And that's why I'm here. So,
wait.
go ahead.
Okay, so let's.
How dare you too? How dare you be the one in the wrong, then come to my platform and tell me how I should talk about this or how we should address this when I'm the one that's pissed off. I'm the one that should be getting a flipping apology. I'm the one. Jeremy, like, what the fuck? The fucking neck on this man. He's now sat there pointing fingers at the staff, telling them that they're responsible. Like, it's your fault. You got us. Basically, in a roundabout way, he's saying them, you got us here. If you didn't start that Reddit forum or if you didn't start that Reddit profile, we wouldn't be here right now. Come on, man.
You have your own timeline in your head of how this went down, and I have my own timeline. And while I want to believe those two things are separate, the timing is very suspicious to me.
But it's. I also can I just interject real quick. All right. They're not separate to me because during the conversation, right, when you guys called me, you and Brian, right, the Trash Tuesday thing did come up in that.
Because why did it come? You and I talked about that stuff before all this, though, Bobby.
I don't want to get into the weeds. Can I just present a timeline? So I don't want there to be confusion.
I'm so
if
happy
we're really
Khalyla's
here to talk
there.
about the truth, I'd
Thank
like the
God.
opportunity to just start from the beginning.
Please do.
And
Whatever you guys want to do.
if at any point you feel what I'm saying is truly unfair and unjustified, you can interject and say, Khalyla, let me clarify on that. But I have written it down. This is something that has taken so much of my mental
Agreed.
space and clarity, and I don't want to live like this,
Me
Brendan.
neither. And I
So-
know you don't. And again, if I can go back and finish this thought, is when if I had a time machine, could go back, I would have called you directly.
Thank you for saying
Because
that.
you and I don't know each other well at all.
don't at
Any
all.
facet. And when I came to you, and I'll tell you this right now, anybody out there, if you're gonna go at Khalyla, you better be ready to go. You are not to be underestimated. You're very fucking smart. And
Oh, the flattery. Fuck off.
dude, and I told you this when we talked.
Yeah.
I said you should be a lawyer. Yeah, as good as you are on podcast, you should be a goddamn lawyer. That being said, if I could redo it, I would have called you direct, and this would have been solved so easily. Also, with the other information I had, I don't want to get in the weeds. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. With other information I had from a person we all know in here, I don't know him that well, and I don't know you that well, and that information coming at me at the same time that the Trash Tuesday and all this stuff coming, it was like this perfect whirlwind.
Right.
But if I would have talked to you before and you gave me the context, I went, that makes so much sense.
Right. We'll get to that
doesn't help.
part where that information is then weaponized against me to people like Rogan and Whitney and Schultz and people that are very influential in the podcast space. And the
Which wasn't fair to you,
the
Khalyla.
character assassination that took place, that I think you underestimated how much information was actually going to get back to me from these people. But again, I really just want to.
Boom. And I like how she's saying these things, and somebody that has a conscience, somebody that is somewhat decent and is really apologetic and really sorry for the mistake that they did and they really overstepped, they'd be injecting there and saying, oh, I'm really sorry. I fucked up there. I know, my bad. He's just doing this weird stuff. Do you know what I mean? And as someone mentioned in the chat, I can't wait for the video for this to come out because the video is going to be very telling of the energies around them. But it's clearly a very, very tense conversation that they're having. And honestly, I'm so thankful Khalyla's there because he's trying to railroad the entire thing and make it seem like they pals. And is one bit he's trying to make it seem like he's the middleman. He's coming in trying to mend the relationship between Bryan Called and Bobby Lee. It's like, no. You're here because you started this mess. And now you're trying to excuse yourself from it. Like, come on.
Take just 10 minutes
Go ahead.
to offer a timeline. And if this doesn't work, it doesn't work. I just really just want to have a moment of fucking clarity in all of this. I also want to add that in therapy, in every session, I hear a part of you is not the total of you. And I do believe you're a great father who loves his family, and you have regular human feelings that get triggered. You have fears, you have all of these things. So I do offer empathy in that way. So in, I wish I was funnier and I could like offer levity, but I just don't. I feel like shit about it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So here's what I have. And hearsay and rumors are super damaging, and I just want to put that all to rest.
Please do.
Even this, Brendan, I would have loved to do privately.
Me,
Okay?
100%.
Right. When we showed up to H3 podcast,
That hurt my feelings.
yeah, it hurt mine as well.
But we'll get there.
We'll get there. So when I showed up to H3 podcast, this wasn't even in our world. It wasn't in our view, our mind. You know what I mean?
And I don't know him, and I have no ill will towards
Right,
him.
right.
I don't know him, but from my understanding from talking to mutual friends of ours, that's what he does, right?
Yeah, but
He
we
does-
had
he
done the
deals with that
podcast.
drama
Yeah, but we
stuff?
had done that podcast many times before. He's done ours, him and his wife, Ela, and
They're lovely.
they're lovely. And
Yeah, I don't know.
Look him trying to discredit. Oh, he's such a. Oh. Come on, Brendan, man. Be redeemable, at least in this moment. At least just like let the situation be what it may. Let people say what they want to say without you having to rewrite the narrative, and just try to mend it and make it right after the fact. He's there desperately trying to now discredit Ethan Klein in real time. Discredit the platform H3. Share how hurt he was by that conversation. Like, God almighty, mate.
Yeah, as
again, I
people,
have
they're
no-
lovely.
I don't know them.
And it wasn't in our, and even on the drive back from there, we were in a state of shock because, I'm not one to, air my dirty laundry on air. Okay. And it was a private matter. And once he brought it up, there was just no way to get out of it. I tried, I was a thinking machine. I mean, it was just like spinning, right?
In honesty, I didn't try that hard.
Yeah. I know
I
she
was
did.
willing to
And-
talk.
and-
And I'll tell you why.
And
was
I
willing to
believe you
talk.
guys. And the same thing with Schultz when he goes, "Hey, I want to bring up the hate." I didn't know he's going to bring up this so particular issue with us.
Yeah.
And I said nothing but complimentary things. I wanted to move on, which we did.
Okay, we'll
Yeah.
get to that
okay,
too.
So, just one last thing is that so we said things that I was gonna die to the grave with. My relationship with H3 is my own private matter. You know what I mean?
I didn't see it, but I heard completely that you guys were caught off guard.
And also, I'm just responding to the things that I've read online, saying that why did you do it in the first place? And you have to understand that I had done it before, and it was never like that. I mean, they had done ours, and
I'd like to defend Ethan and Ela
You can.
here and
I
say
love
that,
them.
But who's attacking them?
They asked the question, and I don't know about you. Maybe that's how you felt. I don't want to invalidate your feelings on it, but I was okay to talk about it.
I know
and I'll
you
get
were.
to why I was okay to talk
Okay.
about it. All right. Are we sure we have 10 minutes of undivided attention?
All right,
Yeah.
timeline start.
Timeline. Like we're gonna do a song.
Let's
Timeline.
New segment never happening again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully that's not a new segment every week. fellas.
The title of this file on my computer is the Schaub Spectacle Extravaganza.
Shop spectacle extravaganza. Nervous about buying a mattress online. Helix is the way to go.
Fucking hell.
You guys, girlfriend, because I have scoliosis.
And it's
And that's why I turned to Roman because
longer in bed. And it's really easy.
clinic.
So it's no prescription needle, not
Oh.
yours. I want your erect penis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so on January 25th, a Trash Tuesday episode is released where Annie and I talk about a nameless comic who hit on us. And for me, that story that I told took place 7 years ago. long time ago.
You're referring to DMs.
Right. Didn't.
Which I own and was completely stupid
Thank
and
you.
never should have
Thank
done.
you.
Okay.
Right.
I'll defend myself. Like,
Just quickly going on here from this comment by Chris Ignacio, which says Khalyla and Annie, by telling the story, did open up this can of worms publicly. Yes, but as men, you can't do this. You can't do this thing where you do a faux pas, especially to the opposite sex, and because it happened a long time ago, it somehow removes the autonomy that the other person has in telling the story. The moment you get involved with somebody, or you try to slide in their DMs, or you try to holler, or you try to smash, or whatever you try to do in terms of a romantic or sexual way, you immediately do it with another person, so they're involved too. So the situation that happens there, whether it leads to something or not, it's their story to tell as well. Now, if they don't want to tell it to protect you, or because they are embarrassed by it as much as you are, cool. But if they want to tell it 10, 5, 17, 20, 55 years down the line, when you're on your deathbed, it doesn't matter. It's their story too. Obviously, there's some tact involved in it, and if you want to be maybe not to be tasteless, maybe you won't do it when somebody's about to get married or whatever it may be called. There are situations where it probably isn't appropriate, but in general, it's their story to tell as much as it is yours. You got them involved in it by propositioning them for sex or for sexual favors or whatever, or for a date. It's their story to tell. So this notion that, Khalyla was out of bounds for mentioning it is nonsense. This story that people are putting out that Annie was out of bounds for mentioning it was nonsense too. He tried. He swung and a miss. Again, no one's saying he shouldn't try. Even morally. People cheat on each other all the time. It happens every single day, every minute of the day. No one's saying him attempting to do it wasn't a good thing or shouldn't have been done, whatever it may be called. But he did it. He swung and a miss. Those ladies are now free to say what they want about the situation. It is their story as much as it is theirs. And if they want to make a joke about it and have a little kiki moment, let them. So what? It happened. If you're actually sorry and you generally are apologetic about it, it wouldn't matter. If you have actually spoke about it with your partner and you've kind of tried to work through it, it shouldn't matter either. It's going to be embarrassing, but if you have kind of got over it and you've mended and you've kind of changed for the better and you're a better person, a better man, a better friend for it, it really shouldn't matter. But the fact that he is going out of his way to twist this and say this and cover this and interrupt here and all this sort of conflating and only addressing it now because it's blown up is proof that maybe he hasn't turned into the person that he wanted to, and this is still pretty raw. But regardless, this idea that they shouldn't be talking about it is crazy.
I own that, and
Thank you.
and that was not right, and I've definitely changed.
And you apologize.
And I apologize
Right.
way before then.
Yeah.
But then also, hold on, real quick. But then also, so apologize.
See, I didn't like it with how Bobby. This is why I'm happy Khalyla's there, because Bobby's too afraid of confrontation. He should have just let Bobby. He should have let Brendan just speak and naturally apologize in that. He shouldn't have gave him an out and said, "And you apologize." It doesn't matter. Like, I'm talking about it now and it hurt me. Just apologize again. It's like when somebody shares, "I lost my father or my mother 20 years ago." You still say sorry to hear that. You still say my condolences. You know what I mean? That sucks. Whatever. You offer something there, some sort of human emotion to this story. Do you know what I mean?
For that, we've talked about it before. Trust me, I've been to therapy over this stuff. That's also another reason I'm on social media, so I don't engage in any of that stuff. So I've learned from that.
I'm sorry. You sent someone some fucking peach bum emojis. You offer them a trug walk, and you're now excusing yourself because you're in therapy for it. Doesn't that say more about you, mate? How many DMs are you letting off in a given week? I know we all have our moments of flipping temptation. I know I do. Right, on a Friday night, you're out there, you maybe had a bit too much to drink, you maybe ingested too much white powder in your nose, and you're feeling like flipping Superman, and you start getting on the DMs. But usually it's people you know. You're not just there flying off the handle on your discovery, just shooting your shot at anyone and everyone that you see in a bikini or something. God almighty, mate. What you DMing exactly? Someone, as Mrs. Singh said, "Can I get a trunk walk, please?" Excuse me, you don't know me, but can I take you out sometime and take you spin the block in my truck?
as far as the Annie stuff goes, that's where I do have to defend myself.
Okay.
I have to, you guys didn't say my name, right? But you alluded
We didn't.
to me.
The illusion. Was that a word?
Delusion, yeah.
Alluding.
Illusion is a word, but not for this.
Yeah.
That's more Shinlin.
Yeah, Shinlin's not here.
Yeah.
She had the line was, "What am I gonna do? Suck your unfunny dick?" And then I came back
As
with,
far as me, but she again, I didn't see it. But as far as she's saying, I asked her to walk in my car or give her a ride.
no, I think that I cannot speak for her.
Yeah.
I wasn't
I can
there.
only
That's
tell
all I'm
you.
saying. I'm saying
I wasn't there. I didn't see. I wasn't. We get it. You don't listen to social media. You don't watch social media. But please, for the love of God, stop with this nonsense. I didn't see. I didn't do. Maybe see this. Maybe go back and watch that podcast. Maybe check out a clip. So if you want to lie, you have a context to lie on. You have some evidence that you can maybe work with, so you can paint a different narrative. My guy, what is this nonsense? And then you see how he tried to interject and say, because I tried to offer her a lift, a ride. We've all tried it, innit? We've all tried those lies. No, I didn't. I wasn't. I promise I wasn't looking at her bum. I was checking out her trainers. I don't know how I ended up here. I just tripped and fell into her pussy, mate. Oh, my God.
I can only tell you what was said on that particular podcast.
and again, if that's how she feels, she's validated to feel like that. And I'm telling you, that never happened.
Okay.
That's a situation you would have to talk to her about. But I'm going to get back.
Oh, Brendan, why would you just... Look, I find it very hard to believe. Because if you listen to that Trash Tuesday podcast, they were talking about crappy men in the lead up to that conversation about the drug walk and leading up to Khalyla revealing what she revealed. And, men basically getting the wrong impression or thinking you're only down for one thing or something. I remember it. We listened to it before. And that story came from the depths of Annie's soul. She seemed really irate. That's not like a woman's story that you just kind of, misremember, or you're not really sure on the facts of it. And if I'm not mistaken, Annie's also sober. She's a former addict. So she's clean as a judge. Just drinks water and maybe root beer. So I don't think she misremembered it. She definitely remembered that story, that instance, and kind of retold it in painstaking detail. So I don't think he's a liar. I just don't think so. And if I have to choose one person who lies and one person who doesn't, I don't know Annie as well as I know Brendan through content, but I would assume Annie would be the person I would say isn't the liar. So to come out and say it didn't happen is just crazy, because it just opens yourself up to more. Don't you want this stuff to be over? Why not just say you did it, even if you don't believe you did it, so you can just move on with your life? Why would you categorically say it didn't happen, which is just going to antagonize her more? It's going to make her feel like she was calling her a liar, and then she's going to come out and go off the handle. Because isn't that what's going to happen? Like, why would you do that to yourself? But I guess the problem here is, I have the feeling that most likely this is the one breaking point in his relationship, probably, because he's really hung up on making sure this is corrected, like that didn't happen. So this might be the real deciding fact. So this might be the one thing that the Mexican might have said to him, or his wife has said to him, hey, if this is true, I'm leaving. So he has to keep up this facade that it didn't happen, because if he admits it, then it's all bets are off. But it's also interesting how no one here is mentioning their flipping stream that happened, where the whole thing that, again, something that transpired in the run-up of all this stuff, that alleged passing of a note to the random on live stream. What was that about then? Was she an intern? Was she somebody that, what was he doing? Sending her the email address of T5K so she could send in her CV? You gotta love this guy, man.
To the podcast itself.
Yeah.
What was said was that there was a guy, he was unfunny. I came back with, oh, that's a big clue. And that's something about a peach emoji. And then...
But my thing with that, Clyde, do you think that's nice?
Oh, no. But I didn't say your name. But it's hang on one second, Brendan. Let me ask you this. if we're having this discussion about something that happened in the past and we're having a giggly little girl talk, where is the crime in that?
There's no crime. You can do whatever you want.
Right.
I have no issue with that. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, no issue with it.
All right.
I'm just saying, is that nice? That's all.
I have gone to you and said, if I could go back, if I had known that.
Is it nice to slide into someone's DMs who you consider to be a friend in comedy when you know their relationship, when you know you're in one? Is it nice to allegedly offer one a trug walk, which maybe insinuates that you want them to gluck gluck 2000 you in the front seat of your brand new white truck in the middle of a car park in front of everybody else? Is that really nice? This guy, bro. Imagine the neck to say that. Is it nice, you know? Fucking hell.
That a tiny little giggly girl talk was going to spiral into this, I would have wired my mouth shut. But in my heart of hearts, while you may think it's not nice, and now I admit, not the nicest thing to say, it was just an anecdote.
Sure. So that was
I didn't think
January.
much of it on saying that, because hitting on someone is just simply not a cancelable offense. That was my justification for it. Who the fuck cares who hits on who 7 years ago? I had fake tits then. They were shiny. You liked them. You DM'd me. You said sorry. Fuck it. Right?
I'm with you.
Okay.
I own that. Yeah.
Good. However, the outcome of that is that people assumed that we were talking about you and went ham on Reddit. And you received a lot of, your team alerted you to the video and the Reddit chatter. And I'm assuming leaving out the part where we didn't say your name. Correct? Can I move on?
Yeah.
Okay. On February 23rd, you text Bobby a video clip some dude put together, a random YouTuber, of that same Trash Tuesday episode, talking about us being hit on by a comic. But with the clickbait title, Bobby Lee's wife confirmed Schaub tried cheating on his wife with her. You text Bobby saying, you've been harassed for 6 years straight, and you've had it. And you're finally going, this is a direct quote. You're finally going after anyone who harasses you online, including comics, that you have spent $500,000 on monster lawyers, and that you have friends in dark places who are going to get the job done. To which Bobby says, okay, I'll talk to Khalyla.
Oh my God. So quite clearly, Uniques puts together a video that he usually does, similar to what I do, but with a much crazier clickbait title on it, and clearly goes right to the jugular with it, like he always does of his content, talking about these guys, because they, you know, he wouldn't exist, I wouldn't exist if these guys didn't speak so brazenly about the stuff that they do, or be so dumb with some of the stuff that they say. That video clip was him analyzing what happened on Trash Tuesdays. So it's just him basically, you know, connecting the dots and maybe figuring out it might be Brendan that they were talking about in terms of who that guy was. Brendan's response to seeing that video is to silence Uniques by suing him, and is to also threaten Bobby Lee with that video by texting it to him and getting him to get, quote unquote, his bitching line in Khalyla.
The outcome of that, Bobby shares that screenshot with me. I ask Bobby if he thinks this is a direct threat towards me. He says, I don't know. I share that information with Annie and Esther, and they're like, what the fuck? Why such an extreme response? Where is this big need to silence us coming from? It was a small little story, so we thought.
Exactly.
February 24th, I'm in New York doing Flagrant 2. You call Bobby and you tell him to tell me that you want the Trash Tuesday girls to announce on the next episode of Trash Tuesday that, hey guys, it wasn't Brendan Schaub we were talking about. Collectively, we're like,
oh my God.
that's going to make it worse for him. That's just not a good look for him if we say, hey guys, that's who
Hold on, I text Bobby that?
No, you...
No, I didn't text Bobby that. Me and Bobby spoke on the phone.
And
he said, I said, dude, I'm getting a lot of shit about this. I'm married with kids. I said, it's not good. I said, and Bobby's exact words were, I'll fix this. Whatever that means.
Okay, so we didn't confirm nor deny We figured it would die out in a week anyway.
Agree. That's the news cycle.
On March 3rd, you text Bobby asking if he's handled the quote-unquote Khalyla shit yet because you're still getting negative comments. In this text chain, you said, I don't want to have to get nasty with her, but if I have no choice,
Jesus Christ.
this is all direct quotes, I can play that game. And this was referring to the months that Bobby and I were in an open relationship, thinking that that was somehow going to directly hurt me.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, it's like, you know,
Oh. Do you hear all these threats and these fucking manipulation tactics and stuff? Like, again, let's be charitable to Brendan. Let's be charitable, right? Let's extend him an olive branch. Is it embarrassing to have a slight dalliance and dropping of the guard that you had and lust and thirst for a comedic friend's wife, girlfriend at the time, and sliding into DM's occurrence? Is that embarrassing? Yes. Would you want that to be brought up on the podcast again, randomly, out of the blue, 7 years later, when you are one of the most hated on comedians in the scene? No. It's not something that you would like, not something that you would encourage, and not something you'd be happy with. I understand. But surely all of this skullduggery in the background just hurts you. It makes you look worse. It makes the situation worse because, number one, now we all know that even though you try to act like you don't see nothing and you're bigger than everything and you're the big Billy Bulldog over here, you clearly get hurt by people leaving you mad comments. You clearly get hurt when people say mean things about you. You clearly get hurt when people make fun of you. And you clearly really worry about how people see and view and talk about you. So all those things are now going to be things that people are going to be constantly attacking you on more because they're going to know they can get a rise out of you because they know behind the scenes you're crying into your whiskey cup about it. And again, is it embarrassing? Yes. Is it something to spend all this time on? Employing people and hiring, flipping BlackRock operatives to come and flipping threaten people and you want to expose their relationship status and what they get up to in the bedroom? Like, come on, bro. Really? Maybe focus on maybe not creeping into people's DMs first. Maybe try that. Maybe give yourself a social media detox. Go on a social media cleanse. Put your phone in the vault somewhere. You know, commit to that. Commit to maybe having 6 months of not having any flirtatious communication with anyone that isn't your wife for a few months. See how that goes. Reset yourself that way. Instead of chasing people around and getting them to make statements about you and what you did and did not. He's just, I don't know if he's just dumb or if he was just really panicking that he was going to lose everything. But this is such a bad way to handle this, man.
Open relationship, you and I, we were, that's not for the, we even talked about it, it's not for the public consumption, right?
Because it was delicate.
It was a delicate thing.
He was
right?
also
we were going
back on drugs.
There's so many different things.
So many different elements
to it, right? It was a dark time.
It was very fragile.
So it was,
we actually broke up for a while.
Yeah.
In fact, Schultz knew that because when Schultz came here, we were broken up.
Yeah. So.
And you guys did or didn't talk about this on the pod?
We never talked about this. The first time we've ever talked about it out loud was H3, which is a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and it's something that I was going to die to the grave.
LOL, by the way, LOL, Schultz is a piece of shit. A funny one, but a piece of shit. If I'm not mistaken, when they went on Flagrant 2, Bobby Lee and Khalyla, he was really pushing and joking about them getting married and how the wedding would be and all this sort of stuff. He was really playing with that a lot when they were there, clearly, and he obviously knew that they were broken up. That's funny. But anyway.
You know, and so that's what she's
this would
alluding.
have all been solved if you and I would have talked direct like we did a week ago with your timeline. But before you go on, though, real quick, can I say this?
Yeah.
The information I got, that open relationship, it's not like anybody did a crime. That's not really breaking news. I can't hold that over your head. The other information you gave me is the bad one, which I don't want to get into.
Okay.
That I don't want to bring up. That's not fair to you guys or anybody.
We can get into that.
Wait, what is that other thing?
Yeah, we can get into that.
The other.
Wait, hold on. Let let me
go ahead.
actually
Yeah.
probably let's assume that it's the same old narrative of me being a gold digger and stealing money from Bobby.
I mean,
Is it within those
We
lines?
talked about it. Yeah, you and
So-
I had spoke about this, and you told me. The
Oh
truth.
yes, I mean
Yes.
let's be real. That is an old, tired story. Bobby, call your accountants.
Okay, here's the truth of the matter. Okay,
I don't really need to.
I
don't need to.
What? Oh my God. I can't believe what's happening right now. He's fully involved in their relationship. He must really, really like Khalyla. Khalyla must look really amazing in person, more so than she does on pictures. And she must have a really banging personality or something. Because he's clearly in love with this woman. Clearly, he's in love with her, bro. Why does he care this much about all this stuff? Because if this was just like, again, I don't condone this sort of stuff, but it does happen, right? You shouldn't be trying to hook up with your friends' girls, right? I don't need to say this out loud, but you shouldn't be doing that. It should be something that you try not to do. But if it does happen, usually it's because you're just thirsty. They might have a great rack on them. They might have a great bum. They might be really petite. They might be really tall. They might be just something that kind of tickles your fancy. They're redhead, they're mixed race, they're black, they're Asian. There's something about them that just sends you googly googly. But it's usually something that you would categorize or put in the first bucket category. Not like I'm trying to leave my girl to hook up with my best friend girl. Not usually. It's just a weird, oh, you just want to know how it feels. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. A bit creepy, but that's what you're thinking usually. It's not deeper than that. But all this stuff he's building up as a case file is like he's trying to build a case to present to Khalyla to convince her to leave Bobby to get with him and be a stepmom to his kids or something. This is what it sounds like. Why does he care about this stuff? Like I don't even know this is true. This narrative about her, Khalyla being a gold digger and taking all Bobby Lee's money, but even as a layman watching him from afar, that clearly isn't true because she's clearly been a positive to his life. Again, no, you know what? Let me retract that. Even if what Brendan is suggesting is true, and she is some sort of conniving, long game flipping gold digger who sits there for 10 years and plots about you in the background, and all the while she's skimming money off the top or whatever. Even if that is true, she has still been a net positive for Bobby Lee and his career overall. Even if she's stealing money, I would think he would still say he was glad he met her because he's been able to, build up the Tigerbelly podcast to be self-sufficient. They probably make loads of money on that. He went on then to use that platform to do other things that maybe gave him confidence to do the other podcasts that he's doing. He's even discussed in recent years seriously considering recording a comedy special. I don't think he would have done that if it wasn't for Khalyla. Yes, the sobriety thing hasn't really worked out as he would have hoped, but still, he's back doing what he needs to do to get that right. But what is this talk? I don't get it. I think Brendan's in love with Khalyla, mate. I think he's in love with her.
To know this guy.
I know. Okay.
The only reason I'm here was to bring up the red thing and show you guys the
All right,
information I
can you
have.
just carry on and move if we're
Just
doing-
keep going.
Okay. I'm almost done, I promise. We're already in March. Okay.
Oh, wait, April. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Hopefully a few more.
Okay, so we ended with I don't want to have to get nasty with her, but if I have to, I'll play that game. You were alluding to stuff you heard from somebody about me being a gold digging whore and the other stuff, the cheating, right? Allegedly. Bobby calls you and says, "Hey, dude, I saw, that's when you guys discussed. I saw those text messages years ago. This is all when I was, and you did hit on her. She will not be saying your name anymore, but you need to let this go, right? You guys agreed to that.
Correct.
Correct. Okay. In the next coming weeks, however, I'm starting to see screenshots on Instagram of DMs of your cute little friend Mark confirming that you wanted to expose me. Is that correct?
I didn't see them.
I know,
you
but
would know.
I talked to you about Mark.
You told me.
You see, he's such... So Mark, I'm assuming, is BGL, right? big gay lion, the freak that we were watching before, who was trying to, Lucian Freud his way into, convincing Brendan that he was his main bottom guy. Say what you want about the guy, but at least he's loyal. He's Mike, he's 40-year-old man who's, deciding to have best friends at that age and ride for them in this way. But still, he's loyal. He's clearly somebody that's found a friend, he believes, and a true brother in Brendan. And he's trying his best. Yeah, Mr. D3. He's trying his best to show his worth, right? But it's clearly also coming, I think, from a real place. He clearly loves him. And he clearly wants to be his friend. And he's doing what most friends will do in trying to protect his boy. He flew out of the window and he's trying to do everything he can to protect him. And for some reason, he was dumb enough to share some of the behind the scenes stuff with somebody on DMs. That might have been like a chess move, because he knew if he did that, most likely it will get screenshotted and get shared in the Fire and the Kids subreddit, which would then eventually get out and in front of Khalyla and Bobby, and maybe they might inadvertently back off. And then if it did work, he could say, "Aha, I was a mastermind behind it." But he did it. Bad move, and he did it. She brings it up, and instead of him defending the guy or offering something, he pretends like he didn't see it. It wasn't something that he endorsed, and immediately distanced himself from BGL, even though he went out of his way to defend him. These guys will die on their sword for the guy, but he, at the first instance, will quickly give them the stiff arm when it suggested that he was part of it too. Fuck me.
You confirmed it with him.
Well, no, I went to Mark and said, dude, you're making things way worse for me.
Okay.
Because he's trying to defend me. I went, you're not defending me. You're making it worse, giving her fuel, and me and her are talking. You don't need to do this.
On April 13th, during a Trash Tuesday live stream show, the girls and I talk about someone threatening to possibly sue us. There was a Dumois article that said there's a girl podcast that is going through a lot of internal trouble because a much bigger podcaster is trying to sue them. We assumed it was us, also based on the text that Bobby had showed me about you spending $500,000 on monster lawyers. I assumed, of course it had to be us.
Wait, hold on. So there's an article where a big podcaster is suing three girls?
And Dumois. Well, it's on Dumois, right, George?
What's that?
Dumois is a site that picks up like insider information about either like celebrities and whatnot. I think they picked up on the drama of just the whole Trash Tuesday podcast.
And in that they don't say any names or anything?
No. Okay. But they kind of add like little hints and stuff along the way. They give you enough information to sort of, anyways. So during that live show, the girls and
I love how he's pretending he doesn't know what Dumois is. I love how he's pretending he doesn't know. You live in LA, mate. That's somebody that whoever does it is definitely somebody that lives in LA and gets fed information. And if in case some of you guys don't know what it is, it's an anonymous Instagram profile where people send in, I just saw this celebrity here. What you call it? Yeah, I just saw this celebrity here. I know this, I overheard this, whatever it may be, like celebrity sightseeing sort of stuff. It's pretty interesting in that regard, but it's a bit of a lame thing to watch again and again. But the fact that he's trying to pretend like he doesn't know what it is just hilarious. But anyway, big up the super chat. I just saw this here. Let me see if I can get up here on my screen. Big up you, appreciate you. Hopefully I can get it up here before it disappears. Yeah, big up the super chat from Jay Santos. First time here, good stuff subbed. Brilliant. Thank you so much for the kind words, Jay Santos. Really do appreciate it. I do my best.
I talk about someone possibly threatening to sue us. We were really under the belief
based
that you were
off that article.
No. Two things. The screenshot that you had sent Bobby that you're coming after everyone, spending $500,000 on monster lawyers, that you have friends in dark places, that you were...
and then that article added to that, you're saying?
Correct.
Gotcha.
And then I add...
He's such a redact. What was the point of that clarification? You said you was going to sue them on text, and then that story comes out in Dumas. It's like 1 + 1 sometimes equals 2. Got ya.
Stream show. I said, this particular someone thinks he has dirt on me, and I say, go ahead.
And
exposed me, and I wasn't very nice. Annie calls this someone unfunny,
Mm-hmm.
and I called that person a little bitch. And the outcome of that, it fueled more harassment towards you on Reddit
Mm-hmm.
after the live show. On April 18th,
But you guys were upset off that article and then the prior talks with Bobby. That's what fueled that.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're getting this idea
sense.
that you simply aren't going to let it go. That's the feeling we're getting.
That you're having. Okay. Validated.
I will skip April 18 because it involves a DM from Schultz, and I don't want to drag him into this. Okay. On April 24, you text Bobby the following. I got a call from a journalist. Not good for you.
What we talked about earlier.
Yes.
Okay.
You and Callan then follow up with a phone call to threaten to, just Callan, physically hurt him to end his career, accusing him of being the mastermind.
Was it physical threat, Bobby? I don't.
It wasn't a physical
I remember I was like,
No, it's not a
Jesus
physical
Christ.
threat, but it's like if I, you know what I mean, if I wasn't such,
A name.
no, if I wasn't such a good guy or whatever, maybe, you know what I mean, if I was a different person, it wasn't really a physical threat. It was more
But
like,
you felt threatened.
yeah, I mean, in the tone, and
It was a very
it's
aggressive.
very aggressive. So, yeah, I found it to be physically threatening. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You were on the phone call, mate. Why are you acting like you don't know what was said or what kind of level of threat was being threatened over the phone? And Brian wouldn't be flying off the handle like that if you weren't complaining or crying to him, pillow talking and making it seem as if this is going to be the end of your life that this got out here. That's what I'm saying. BGL went out of his way to defend the guy, in a weird way by talking to a fan via DMs and hoping it would get shared. I'm assuming he did it that way. Maybe he didn't, who knows? And he thought he was talking to somebody in confidence. I doubt it, but let's just extend the olive branch to him. Immediately when his name gets brought up, he strong arms him. Nah, nothing to do with me. They talk about Brian flying off the window and threatening Bobby Lee, who is known for nearly 30 years. He immediately goes, nah, really? That was fucked up, man. I didn't know that happened. Crazy, man. Whoa. I was like, whoa, man, how's you saying that? It's like, have some honor with your friends, bro. Like,
So that accusation to end his career of Bobby being the mastermind behind the 6 years of Reddit harassment towards you, Schaub. Bobby calls me from Tulsa. He's shell-shocked. He's upset.
He gave you my number, or did you give me?
No. He calls me. We'll get to
Okay.
that. So he calls me. He's clearly upset. Then that upsets me. The outcome is I asked Bobby for your number. I text you the following. This is exact text. Hi, Brendan. It's Khalyla. Bobby just told me you and Callan threatened him. I'm failing to understand the need for such a big reaction to something so small. Please stop with the threats to sue or create false stories to expose Bobby and I. I am available to chat if you'd like. To which you agreed, and we chat. The first time we talked was not really a talk. It was more
Both
like
of us
10
were
minutes of
shouting.
screaming.
Yes.
We called each other names for about 10 minutes.
You're very good at that.
Yeah, thank you. I will say I dug deep there. I dug through my
Very good.
arsenal.
Very
Thank you.
good at
I could hear it from Oklahoma,
Thank you.
which is crazy.
Thank you. This is the story that I got from you during the screaming match, is that you told me that the feds had been investigating a video of child abuse on the subreddit, correct?
I guess you call it it goes beyond my team because of the criminal action.
The criminal action.
The criminal activity, yes.
Okay. You said feds, but maybe that's not what you meant. It's probably you meant someone higher up.
Correct, yeah. Feds would be a bad term.
Okay. A video of child abuse on the subreddit where they noticed a barrage of comments linked to one IP address, linked to a computer from my home.
Correct.
As they continued to investigate, they were able to retrieve 300 pages of evidence that either Bobby or I were responsible for the 6 years of subreddit harassment towards you, Joanna, and your kids, right? All 6 years to...
This is the first time the Mexican Joanna has been mentioned this entire issue. Bless that lady, man. The things she has to put up with. God damn it.
One home address. I said, but Schaub, we've only lived here for 2.5. How is this possible? Then I said, let me get this straight. You're telling me that while investigating a child abuse case, the feds were like, yeah, let's put this beaten baby case to rest and pursue Schaub's online harassment instead. I mocked you. The argument was super heated. I said, Brendan, you can audit my asshole, my pet's asshole, my mom's asshole, and you'll find nothing. Plus, why are you doing all of this? Over a story I told on my show, I never said your name. You said, that can't be true. I said, roll the tapes, listen, go back, open your ears and hear it for yourself. That was April 24th. On April 25, in the wee hours of the morning, you text me and you said you haven't been able to sleep. You asked to talk. This time, it's not heated. It's a very productive conversation.
Way better.
You apologize profusely. You say you're embarrassed after realizing we actually never said your name on Trash Tuesday. We come to the agreement that I will not be mentioning or alluding to you in any way.
So you're telling me the entire time he's arguing and denying and threatening and intimidating and alluding and all this nonsense, he didn't sit down and just listen to the whole episode? This thing that he feels like is monumental, that's going to do irrevocable or irreversible damage to his career, that might harm his ability to look after his children, that might ruin his relationship with his wife. He didn't have the flipping wherewithal to sit down and just think, maybe I should listen to this. God almighty, man, this guy is redacted.
Moving forward. But I still demand that you send me the 300 pages of evidence against me, Bobby, and my company, because that is a serious allegation. I have spent the last 8 years building this company, and I'll be damned if anyone, if my company is associated to a stain like that. That's horrible. And if any of my guys were to do that, they would be gone yesterday.
Sure.
Okay. So you agree. You say your guys are on it. You're going to send me the 300 pages of evidence.
Yep.
Okay. In the following 2 weeks, I text you on 4 different occasions asking for those 300 pages. I tell you that I don't want my business to be associated with any of this. I patch you to my producers, George and Gilbert, who both tell you that we want to get to the bottom of this. We want to help you. This is serious. I felt like you long played us, and you say you're busy, and nothing is ever sent to us. On May 2nd, finally got to May. We're in May.
Let's go.
On May 2nd, you were on Flagrant 2, being very complimentary to me. Meanwhile, on this day, I was hearing from our friends in common that you had flown to Austin to speak to Rogan about the situation.
No.
That you were telling,
not why
hold
I
on,
flew
let
there.
me finish this. And you
Oh, the exposing. So everything that people have been saying on that, honestly, the Fire and the Kids subreddit, they are absolute Nostradamus over there. They always say whenever something happens, or bad, whether to Brendan, that he runs to Daddy Rogan and goes to complain. And now we know it's true. He flew to Austin, of course, to promote his special, but also to have Daddy Rogan's advice on this issue that he's going through. God almighty. Rogan's probably sitting there thinking, why? This is why I left LA. Oh, Khalyla's just glad she's there, man. I'm glad she's there.
you can defend
Okay,
yourself.
good.
That you were telling Rogan, Whitney, Schultz, anyone with an ear, slanderous things about me, that I was a gold-digging whore, stealing money from Bobby, because God forbid I make my own money, that you hired a private investigator who was able to incriminate me for 6 years of Reddit harassment towards you, Joanna, and your kids, and just overall assassinating my character. At this point, I decide that our previous deal to not talk about each other on the podcast was off. So I know you understood it to be, hey, I'm on Flagrant. I said nice things about you. I was getting different
I would have
information
said those no
that
matter
day.
what.
Okay,
Carry on.
that's May 2nd. May 6th, Bobby and I go on H3. Ethan brings you up. I feel justified, very justified at this point to talk about you. Bobby talks about the bullying. I text you after the show. I give you the heads up. I say, Brendan, this is what was talked about on H3. Later that afternoon, Callan calls to apologize to Bobby for the bullying, threats, etc.
I'm curious to see, will he deny what she said though? Let's keep an eye on that. Will he deny that? Will he deny that? What I'm thinking is that will he deny the fact that she said in the same in the same month that you said we should squash it and we were cool and we shouldn't speak about it anymore, we had a constructive conversation, you on the other side of your mouth, you were flying off to Austin and basically badmouth me to anybody that would listen to you. Let's see if he actually keeps that same energy. Oh, before we do that, we have a super chat here, I think. I heard a little alert. Do we have one? Well, I missed it. Yeah, I did. From Eggy Mule. He says, for £1.79, thank you, appreciate you. And he says the following: BGL, D3 helmet, Schultz's lizard, that is all. Fair enough. D3 helmet. BGL, D3 helmet is a good way to refer to somebody. But anyway, let's see. But big up for the super chat. I appreciate you, brother.
Hey, will you clear bullying meaning? Define bullying for me. Like what? Like Callan bullied you, Bobby?
That phone call. Is
That
what we're
phone
talking
call.
about. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Was not.
Now I get where the BGL fucking reading the Wikipedia definition of bullying comes from. He must have had a conversation with Brendan too, because Brendan's a bit of a sieve in that way. As soon as you tell him something, he just repeats it. You know what I mean? So clearly they had some sort of conversation about bullying.
Does that seem bullying to you?
That phone call, yes. I didn't know if you and if Callan called you like every other day doing this.
No.
Which I highly doubt. Because when I heard
no. I mean,
bullying, it's from that call.
I mean,
okay.
I mean, even with Callan's phone call Friday, his, can I?
Yeah.
Yeah, the apology phone call.
I love the LA way. Bullying only counts if it's coming towards Brendan, and it only counts if it's done more than once. If you don't bully somebody more than once, it's not bullying. It's just being stern. It's just being direct. It's just backing your boy. Oh, these guys are insufferable, man. Insufferable.
It was still, there was a thread of, but still, he was like, I'm so sorry. I should have done it better. You're my friend, this and that. But there's still somebody on your team, you know what I mean? And at that point, I was just like,
oh, and I have it. I also have it on excellent authority that we're not the first people he has threatened that whole Reddit thing about.
Brian?
He has used that excuse on multiple people. I know you're responsible for Reddit. So when I heard that,
Callan has?
Oh yeah. So
I don't know if I believe that.
Okay, I'm just saying we wouldn't be the first.
Who said that?
I believe Khalyla. I believe Khalyla because I do remember, because that's the same thing he tried to say about Crystalia, innit? Remember when Crystalia happened? Remember that thing happened to Crystalia and he got taken down for allegedly, creeping in underage girls' DMs or whatnot. Brian went out of his way to delete all evidence of Crystalia from his Instagram page, and then he made up this batshit lie about, he was afraid his daughters were gonna see stuff and people on Reddit forums and whatnot. He just used Reddit as an excuse to say that's why he deleted pictures of Crystalia on his profile, when the real reason was because he was afraid of getting cancelled by being associated with Crystalia, not Chris Diddler. I was about to say Chris Diddler, but yeah. He was afraid of being associated with him, so he deleted the pictures. But then as karma would have it, a few weeks later, he then gets accused of rape. Do you know what I mean? It is what it is, isn't it? The game is the game.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
Brian's not privy to that. Brian didn't even know what.
May 7th, which is the day after H3, you asked.
Is that Saturday?
Saturday.
Yeah.
You asked to talk. You apologize for everything. You say you're ready to take full responsibility. You ask to be on the podcast. I say yes, and here we are.
We had a discussion, right? About, I said, how do we end this? Because this isn't good for anyone. I said, should I go on the podcast and air it out? And then we came to an agreement because I didn't think coming on here was a great idea, because I didn't know.
Hey, good instinct.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't sleep well last night, and it's been, you know,
Big up the producer in the background taking a shot there at him. I love that because this has been a terrible podcast for Brendan. An absolute car crash. An absolute car crash. It's made him look worse than he ever had imagined he probably looked. This is the worst idea ever.
you have to understand that, you know, I live with Khalyla, and she's the love of my life. And for the last couple of months, you know, I mean, even when, I mean, it was terrible when I was using, and then when I got sober again, it's been very terrible in the house seeing her go through. I mean, because, you know, I mean, we all know, you know, that we get harassed, you know what I mean, and things said about us on the internet. But
Mine's
with her,
different, Bubba.
huh?
Mine's
I know it is,
You know
but I'm
what?
just saying.
Mine's
I would
different.
say mine is on par with yours.
I'll share with you what I do.
Okay, but I don't want to do a tit for tat. I don't want to do a tit for tat.
Oh no, we don't want.
But
That one I will win.
All right, I know you would.
Yeah,
But what
that
I'm
one
saying
I
though is that, you know, to witness her every day go through deep, you know what I mean, emotional, you know what I mean, episodes.
Oh, it's been awful.
You know what I mean, and it's really, it's been very terrible for me. You
I
know?
think I felt like such a small fry in this because obviously, you know, when I had heard that you had gone to Rogan and other people, I thought, like, how did it get from giggly girl talk to here?
Can I talk about
Yeah.
that?
Okay,
stuff?
so let's
Can
go.
I go?
Yeah, please.
Can I go?
Where's your timeline?
Where's your piece of paper, dude?
Timeline.
With Brendan Schaub.
One time only. Hopefully. All this stems back to all that stuff. It's all a place of fear. It's all a place of fear because when we talk about Reddit and that stuff and the harassment, promise you mine's different. I know I look tough and all that. That stuff hurts my feelings. That's why I'm not on social media. It's not because I think I'm better than anybody or anything like that. That stuff is horrendous. Horrendous.
I believe you.
Horrendous. So when that team looks into it and I get notified that it's Tigerbelly, I'm so upset. Now, you guys saying you have nothing to do with it, right? So, but at the time, I was so upset because you've always been nice to me. Oh, you've always been nice to me. We don't know each other, but you've always been nice to me. So I was so upset because if it's someone random, that's that's what they're going to do. But if somebody that I know, I was so upset. I expect it from somebody I don't know, but somebody that I assume I know, that's where this stems from. The anger, I cannot emphasize how upset I was and hurt and deeply hurt because, again, I don't think you guys have anything to do with it.
But where is
But
this
hold on,
proof?
Clyde. I have the proof. Here's the thing.
Where's your
And-
briefcase?
I don't need a briefcase. I don't need a briefcase. I wish I could laugh at that.
Yeah.
I don't have a briefcase. I have it all on my phone. The reason I can't send it to you because the ongoing investigation. I can't.
On investigation for the child abuse thing?
There's 6 counts on there that you're talking about pedophiles. You're talking about horrible shit.
Okay.
It's bigger than me, but that's gonna be dealt with. My thing for you, do whatever you want with this.
Hold on. So let's just get this right. So this 300-page document he's talking about, is this the reason why he's suing Uniques? So when we all assumed he was suing Uniques because of the video he uploaded where he suggested or he put the dots together that maybe Brendan was handing a note to some mysterious girl in the crowd of that boxing thing that he did, the live stream with Mike Tyson, I just assumed the reason why he got sued was because he was putting out too much of Brendan's business. But is it the real reason he's suing Unique because he's alluding that he might be a child abuser or something? What? And what does that have to do with Bobby and Khalyla anyway? He's now alluding that it's not Unique who's the owner of that Reddit account. It's actually Bobby and Khalyla. I don't understand this. I really don't get the connection with it. I don't understand this. I really don't.
Whatever you want. I'm good, man.
Okay.
It's horrible, and I want to squash between us. Do what? And let me get this out, Bob. I know you want to talk. I'll show you the stuff that I have. You guys figure out what you want to do with it. This is what's interesting. Again, I don't think it's you
Will
guys.
you show me now?
I'll show you when
We'll
we got.
we'll blur this off because we want to know. Because like
I'll show you after the
I
show.
want the audience
let me
to
get.
think
let me,
you actually showed us something you never did.
Well, yeah, I can show it to you. Here's the thing. This is what's interesting. Explain this however you want. When I notified you guys of the harassment and going back to Tigerbelly, that account stopped posting, took the Tigerbelly email off, and changed it. It's never posted again.
Do you know how Reddit works?
No.
So you seem to have
one of the best sound bites to come out of this whole thing is that entire exchange. Do you know how Reddit works? Pause. No. After he's mumbling and stuttering his way through, somebody has an account and they're liking pedophilic stuff and they're beating their autistic kid on live stream. I don't know what that has to do with him cheating or sliding into people's DMs, by the way. But still, he's stuttering and slushing his way all through it with these nicotine patches probably hanging from his bottom lip. And then she's like, do you know how Reddit works? No. So you're doing all of this, gathering all this evidence, putting together this mad conspiracy, and you have no idea how Reddit works. This reminds me of those conversations people have with flat earthers. Do you know what I mean? Are you familiar with the law of physics? No. Then what are we talking about?
very clear convictions about this alleged occurrence from my company, all the while not really knowing how Reddit posting works, Brendan. So that's a little bit.
Well, this team note, I promise you, this team knows.
Okay,
Well,
but
we've been asking you to speak with this team, and here's what I have to say about this. From my end, it looked foolish for you to be this fragile over something some three girls said on a podcast. It looked foolish. So in my end, the way I understand it is we need to come up with a bigger story about Khalyla to incriminate, so that my reaction to that Trash Tuesday talk doesn't seem insane.
No,
that's how I receive it.
You're giving me too much credit. You're giving me too much credit. You're giving me way too much credit.
I don't think.
You think I would want to? Again, I don't want this drama. I've been harassed for 6 years, guys. 6 years.
But I think that it makes sense that someone who has been harassed for 6 years would feel like he's on the back foot and would swing in this way. It makes sense to me.
I would only swing
Exactly,
if they gave if this.
because he wants to be the victim. He wants to be the victim. This is the apropos time to stand behind victimhood and cry foul play and say how it's affecting you and it's bullying and I'm emotional and I'm a big guy even though I'm a tough guy and I'm a Hell's Angel and all this nonsense. It hurts me too. It's like, what are you talking about? One moment he's threatening people and saying, if you come to me, I'm going. Didn't he do that recently? He started threatening people. I've got a skill set. Name the warders. That's where that whole meme came for, to name the warders. He's threatening people with violence. He breaks fucking Chin's neck to the point where he might require surgery. Doesn't pay for it, by the way, but still, great guy, beast of a guy. And now suddenly he's now victim man. Now he's victim man. And conveniently, his crack team of BlackRock flipping agents that he's got, right? Former fucking, what would you call them? Former fucking CIA agents are now presenting to him a case where he's alleging that Bobby Lee is what? Harboring fucking child abusers. And he's on his team of people that he works with. And he's going to their studio and not willing to share the information, but accusing people that are producing that show of being people who are behind it.
This team who has nothing to do with comedy, doesn't know you guys, didn't show me this stuff.
Okay. Can I say something?
Yes.
All right. Number one, I don't need to see it. I don't personally need to see it because I know that I have nothing to do with it.
You do, absolutely.
Yeah. Number one, you're saying that you know me, right? If you did know me, right, you would already know that I had nothing to do with it because of the fact that when all this thing happened, Delia called me laughing, right? And Delia goes, "You don't even know how to. You don't own a computer."
He answers the phone with his iPad.
He goes, "You don't know how to get on your email," and he was laughing. I go, "I know." In fact, I've had calls from everybody, right? Huge names in the podcast room laughing like, what? They apparently don't know who you are and how you operate.
He's literally
Right.
missing fingers.
Yeah, I'm missing fingers. My point is,
we're
is
not
that-
saying it's not Bobby.
I understand that, but you have to understand that because of the call a week and a half ago with you and Brian, right? You said that it was me in the beginning.
I said your name is on the account, Bobby.
Right. And then
And in that
eventually,
same call, we said it's not.
eventually through the conversations after saying I don't own a computer, this and that, and defending myself, this and
Became
that.
me.
What?
And then it said it was me.
No, I don't know. I don't remember. But what I'm saying is that
We didn't say you particularly.
in the beginning you did, and as I defended myself and saying I don't own a computer, this and that, then you guys started going, oh, maybe it wasn't you. Well, it's somebody on your team, right? So, I honestly believe full-heartedly that I don't know what you have there, but I know that in terms of these two ding-dongs, right? They have nothing to do with it. Why? You have to ask yourself this question.
What is the motive?
Why would we do that?
I have no clue.
Literally, like, what is the motive?
There
behind
is
this?
no reason behind it.
What's the reason behind any of it?
Yeah,
why do this nasty shit? Why create any of this drama?
Right.
He really, really has a hard time comprehending why anybody doesn't like him, which I find really bizarre for somebody who's in content creation, especially somebody who's as prominent as he is. I always feel as if, in my opinion anyway, some of the most successful people on social media or on the internet at large are usually the people who divide opinion. They have a very fervent fan base that froths at the mouth at everything they do. And they also have a very vocal minority of people that hate everything they do and point it out. But usually the content creators are aware of the reception they will get for whatever they do from both sides of the fan base. Now, the key to it, if you're a great content creator that I've seen watching people from afar, because I'm nobody, I'm just a small potato guy out here, the genius thing to do is to not pay attention to either and just do what you do. Just double down on your personality. What will end up happening is that your fans that love you will love you even more, and the haters that don't like you, who are a small minority in the grand scheme of things, will continue to keep hate watching your stuff in a roundabout way, making you more famous and helping you to get to where you need to get to. But what you don't get to do if you're that person that's very divisive is to then come out and cry victim. If you're going to earn, or if you're going to accept the bucks of being somebody that divides opinion, and you're going to somewhat troll and, double down on things and take positions that you don't essentially believe in order to get a rise from somebody, you then don't get to cry foul and start crying and complaining. You don't get to do that. But I'm now wondering to myself whether or not Brendan's actually that sophisticated. Maybe he's just dumb. And maybe he genuinely doesn't understand why people don't like him. He can't figure it out. He just can't wrap his head around it. Which is why he's probably susceptible to people bringing evidence to him about Bobby Lee being some mastermind and him believing it straight away. That might be it. That might be the reason why. He might be legitimately dumb. And he honestly believes the things that he's saying, or that the things that are being presented to him. Because this makes no sense. No sense that he's legitimately can't wrap his head around why 60,000 people on a subreddit are collectively saying, you are a douche, you are a douche, you are a douche. Now, are all of them saying it? No, let's take a step back. Is it all 65? Probably not. There's probably loads of people who are subbed to that subreddit ages ago and accounts that are probably dormant. Active people on there might be in the high 10,000s, but still, does that account for all your fans? Obviously not. So why do you care? God.
No rhyme or reason for any of this.
Yeah, but I just want to even if my team said to me, oh, Whitney Cummings is doing something, right? Already in my heart, I know her. Why would she do that? There is no motivation behind it.
Here's my thing, Bobby.
So it's why? You have to ask yourself that question.
Sure.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. Here,
Go ahead.
If either two of your, even your, what's your name, brother?
Gilbert.
Gilbert and George. If
Yeah.
that hurt.
Sorry,
That must have hurt a little. That
That's my CT.
Nick.
That's my CT flare now.
This is also his first day here.
It is
by
his
the way.
first day.
That
It's
guy.
your first day. He's a brown belt.
He's a brown belt.
He's a brown belt. Choke you out. And Khalyla, as the business operator of this
Yeah.
thing, if you guys came to me with the same information and was under firing the kid, I would want to see it and I'd get to the bottom of it.
I have a question about the delicacy or the delicate nature of the investigation regarding pedophilia, regarding this beaten baby on the subreddit. As you don't have ownership of that subreddit, correct? That is not your subreddit. Okay,
I don't think
then
anybody-
why are those federal investigators
I said that
considering?
they're not feds.
Okay, let's say
covered that.
but you
Reddit cops.
if that is in active investigation right now, and that is the reason why you cannot show us that information.
No, I can
why-
show you. I can't send you the documents. So
Okay.
you physically have them in your possession.
So
I
they
can show it to you right now. When we get off, I can show you. As soon as we get done, I will show you all the shit I have.
you better spit shake on that, Brendan,
I mean, why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
I mean,
because I've been asking you.
Okay, cool. Let's quickly stop this and get to the super chat. He's talking out of his ass. Big up to Joe for the $9.99 super chat. I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much. He says as follows: CTE is real. This is a prime example of brain damage. You literally can't understand how he thinks because it's damaged. True. He also wants to die on Reddit. He also wants to die on the Reddit hill. He has to deflect the cheating scandal. Yeah, no, I get that. I get the feeling. I said before that I think he's in love with Khalyla. I don't think that's true. I'm obviously being funny and trying to make a joke out of it. I generally do think this is a thing that this was part of his rationale that he explained what happened with Khalyla to his missus or to his wife back home. And I think she obviously believed it, even if we think she's lying or not. And because it's such a tense thing and such a contentious thing, it's also very, his relationship is probably hanging in the balance. So if he allows this to continue and he allows whatever truth narrative this is to get spun, it might cost him his family. You know what I mean? And he's obviously going to fight for that. So I get it, but it's just, I don't know, man. Surely there's a better way to go about it. That's just all I'm saying. There's a better way to go about this sort of things, but maybe I don't know what I'm talking about.
It for weeks.
Yeah.
And I've been asking to meet. I feel like you've long played me.
you've been asking me to meet in person?
No, I've been
I tried
asking you,
meeting
where
in
is
person.
this? Where is this thing? Where is this thing? And you're like, I'm busy. Maybe tomorrow. I'm busy. Maybe tomorrow.
Just the docs. Because only
And
it's
I'm
like,
not busy.
because here's the thing with the docs. It's like they're either not real or we have someone that somehow got a hold and hacked us. We just want to know for ourselves if we
Right.
were
And
hacked.
you should.
Yeah.
But that's why
And-
it's very important we see these.
Here's my thing. I'm not accusing anybody in here.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say in some weird world, it's somebody that you know, you're associating, you had no idea it was happening. I still don't give a shit. I just want to stop.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
Okay.
That's the only reason.
That's
I'm
what
here.
You
yeah,
hear
yeah.
that? Whoever is the incel living in my backyard doing
Nick?
this.
All right, so
Stay
let's
here.
do a new segment.
Hang on. I'm not. I have.
segment.
I
Oh
have
wait,
curiosity.
Khalyla, last thing.
Yeah.
So when you said I flew to Austin and tell Rogan about this,
Yeah, that's my next question.
no, can I cover
Yeah.
this? Flew to Rogan to do his show.
Okay.
This is aside from that.
Okay. Copy.
And,
that makes sense.
And I want you to know, as I look you in the eye, when I would tell them, I would preface with every time I go, I don't think Bobby and Khalyla are involved. The Tigerbelly email is on there.
Okay. And
Every single time. Never, ever, and I swear on my kids, never went, Khalyla's a gold digger. None of it.
Can we just do a new segment real quick?
so,
You
but-
can
but-
still talk in the new segment.
Go ahead.
So what Khalyla said was still true. He still he did obviously fly to Austin to do the podcast to promote his special. But he also, while he was there, told everybody that would be willing to listen about the drama that he basically created for himself and this notion or this story that they were somehow connected, or Khalyla and Bobby were somehow connected to the flipping fight and the kids subreddit. So what she said happened. But he obviously got shown up and exposed. He didn't know that she was going to say that because she's clearly way more well regarded, or she's clearly held in a higher sense. Yeah, she's clearly held in a higher esteem than he thought she was, because she was clearly privy to things that he didn't think would get back to her, because he thought he was I'm the Rogan's guy. It's like you might not be. This is also a thing that he might need to be aware of. Like you might not be as sweet with these people as you think you are. They might just be being sweet to you because you're Rogan's guy. But the moment Rogan, again, the Fire and the Kid subreddit, they've been saying it for ages, man. Some people are suggesting that maybe him and Rogan aren't as close as he makes it seem as, and which might be true because if you listen to the recent episode he did with Rogan, you know, he didn't even know he had a thick boy studio. He didn't even know anything. I mean, maybe he was playing dumb so he could explain it on his show. I doubt it, but Joe seemed very unaware of Brendan's life in general. So this might lend some credence to it.
Right? New segment.
That's it. That's the.
Yeah.
That was
I just need to do it. I have OC.
That was your tension breaker.
Yeah.
But overall,
George laughed. That's also I wanted George to laugh.
overall with the timeline.
But then also when you went to you know you got to remember too, Rogan's like an older brother to me. When I do anything, I call Rogan. That's how I operate.
Right.
Yeah.
I asked his advice on this, right? And then you know, he would give me his advice how I should handle it. But then the other stuff's hiring a private investigator. I don't know where the fuck you'd find a private investigator. And just the same when you go, I mean, I would handle it like this. As far as a private investigator for what? What the fuck would I hire a private investigator to follow you to do what?
I
They
have a
make sense.
question.
So that's what bothers me. Whoever got that back to you,
Multiple people corroborating each other's stories, but go ahead. Okay, but whatever you told him about me, whether it was however whatever version you have in your head that what you told him.
we can call those people after this and confirm my story.
Oh, 1,000% would love to.
If that makes you feel better,
It does make me feel
yeah,
better.
we can do. As soon
If
as we're
you-
done with this, we will call those 3 people.
1,000%.
Yep.
Anyways, would love that. Would love nothing more. When you did tell Rogan your version of events, I just want to know for my own peace of mind, did he believe it?
I don't know. To him, it's like, you know, you're never gonna beat the internet, man. I mean,
No, regarding me and Bobby.
no, because I told him it's not you guys.
Okay, but everything else regarding the information that got back to me is that you told Rogan things, obviously, that were very slanderous about.
He didn't really answer the question though. Khalyla is asking him, when you told him, yeah, he didn't answer the question. He's being purposely facetious or whatever, or elusive of the truth. She's saying, when you told Rogan this cockamamie story about us starting this Reddit subreddit about you and hating on you, what did he have to say about it? And he's like, oh, I told him it wasn't true. No. I know what you said. What did he say about it? He doesn't want to say anything because clearly I'm assuming Rogan didn't agree and told him to fucking leave it. And obviously, you know, he couldn't.
Me. I want to believe that wasn't the case.
In all of this stuff, right? There's still, you know, people talk, you know, like the telephone thing, right?
Yes,
like
he
things
gave a
get
telephone.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If I could redo it, I
Things get changed
Called her
through
directly.
other people's communications to others, right? You know what I mean? Some things are not easily proven. You know what I mean? It's he said, she said, and all that stuff. So it's like, you know, I think in terms of what we talked about in this last hour, right, is we got all of it out, right?
Not yet.
There's more?
Go ahead. Maybe you got it out. I was.
No, well, I mean, I'm sitting here listening to it,
Yeah.
right? You know, because what I want to spend time with now is getting to a place where we can move forward from it, right?
Yeah, I don't. want this feeling
And we create new rules. You know what I mean? I mean, that was what
Yeah.
the segment was really called, New Rules.
Oh,
but-
new rules.
Yeah, yeah,
Try it.
That's a Bill Maher.
and that's why I didn't do it. That's why I said
Yeah.
new
Oh.
segment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why I did the new segment. You said do new segment again, or
Yeah, but let's.
Don't.
I'll do it different. I'll do it different.
Brainstorm?
I'll just do it. No, just do it. I'll just.
No.
All right.
All right, let's get back on track.
No, so here's what I want to do now. Okay. Sorry, my bad. New rules. New rules. How from now on, this is how we're gonna move forward. Okay. Can we do that now?
You can have your rules of how you're going to move forward, but I have my own stipulations too. But
That's
go
all right.
ahead.
I'm not the ruler of this thing.
Yeah.
Slap
Kind of am, but I kind of am. But you know,
I'm gonna end it there for now because it's really late here. It's 4:30, and I can't be bothered. And maybe I'll do the next segment actually. Yeah, I'll do that. Let me actually take a screenshot of this, and I'll do that. I'll do that as another segment in terms of picking up on their new rules and that other side of things. As who mentioned it before? Domo Creole says, this has been completely useless. I'm even more confused and disgusted than before. Same here. Same here, honestly. I don't know what this served, what purpose this served, what it did. It did nothing but further illustrate and drum home the fact that Brendan is a pretty dodgy dude, to say the least. Bryan Callen's a cuck, and the LA comedy scene is full of enablers and awful people who will put their principles and morals to a side if you're in the good books of certain people. Because you'd hope and you'd imagine if this happened to anybody else who wasn't somebody closely associated with Joe Rogan, the treatment of him would be far different than what they're treating Brendan. But because he's so closely aligned with Joe and that whole LA comedy scene, he somehow is being allowed to get away with absolute nonsense to somebody who is legitimately a legend in that scene. Say what you want about Bobby, say if you don't find him funny or not, but he's put in the work, he's done the 10,000 hours, he's part of the, you know, the fabric of that little comedy scene they have going on there. He should at least be owed some level of respect and courtesy when it comes to how people talk about him, talk about people he's associated with, people he works with, his flipping wife, his woman, whatever you want to call it. And anything else that goes on between them as relationship wise, unless they want to put it out there in public, it shouldn't be used as a weapon against them to get them to fall in line. What an absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. That's all it's shown. It's just highlighted how garbage they all are. And it's also further highlighted that everything they speak about on podcasts when it comes to do with other people is just nonsense. It's them posturing. It's moral posturing. They finger wag and point this and say this about other people, but then in their own lives, they do far worse to people who they deem to be friends. If you need friends, if you have friends like this, who needs enemies, isn't it? That's the saying goes. If you have friends like this, who needs enemies? People that are investigating things, gathering documents, coming at you with this, threatening you with that, getting on freeways, flying to places, threatening this, talking to like horrible people, man, the worst. And maybe for Bobby, it's all a good thing because it shows you who your actual real friends are. Because even though people have been silent, you would assume that people's silence in not backing up Brendan and Bryan has been maybe a sly vote of confidence for Bobby Lee. So maybe he's clearly seeing now who his actual friends in comedy are. So that's good. It kind of thins the herd so you don't keep thinking people that your friends aren't really your friends. Maybe for Khalyla too, being a woman in comedy and being solely closely aligned obviously with Bobby Lee and everything that he's got up to and whatnot, this might obviously highlight and show her, you know, the treacherous nature that the treacherous environment that she's basically existed in, and she doesn't get a pass just because she's not a comedian. It could also come to her doorstep. Maybe that's gonna open her eyes up to be a bit more, you know, a bit more aware of her surroundings, to be on the P's and Q's, to have her head in the swivel. Who knows? And maybe for Brendan too, it's been a success because now he's realized who his actual real life cock holsters are. It's flipping BGL and Bryan Callen. They will fly out windows. They will defend Brendan more than they'll defend their own family. Did you hear Bryan Callen flipping try and defend or save his marriage the same way he's tried to save and flipping defend Brendan's honor concerning an issue that he got himself involved in by trying to shoot his shot those many years ago, or however many years ago it was? Have you heard him defend anyone the way he's been defending Brendan? So maybe that's a highlight for him, Brendan. He's realized who his actual guys are. For Bryan Callen, it's been nothing but negatives. It's just exposed him for being the sleazeball that we've all kind of hoped that he wasn't. Me especially, being a big fan of his, I still think he's one of the funniest, or one of the funnier stand-ups in that whole LA comedy scene, extended Joe Rogan universe. And he has shown himself up in a big way. He threw under the bus not only Chris D'Elia when he was in his moment of need, he also quickly switched up on Bobby Lee when he thought Bobby Lee was responsible for making his best friend sad. Absolute nonsense, man. Absolute nonsense. All of it. All nonsense. They all deserve each other. And at the heart of it, There's two lovely little precious kids. There's a wife who just wants to be loved and drive a G-Wagon and just have some fun. No one should be insulted for that, who are having to pick up all the pieces. Absolute shocking state of affairs. But anyway, that's me. I'm done. If you want to ask Jay, if you want to ask me, if you want to ask anyone else, ask away. But I'm done, man. I'm wrapping this up. Thanks again for tuning in. It's been a pleasure to have your company as per usual. I'll have the timestamps of this up later on, hopefully today. And yeah, man, be safe. Take care of each other. Well, take care of each other far better than these flipping galactic whore cunts do. And I'll see you guys on the other side, innit? But Jesus Christ, one absolute shit show of a situation. What an absolute shit show. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, bros and ladies and anyone else in between. It's been a pleasure to have your company. Take care, be safe.